And that is us. What's up, my brother?
Yeah. What's good, man?
We are here, and we are live. The new element is in full effect. Here we go. So how you been, my man?
I've been good, man. You know, I was just, when you asked me to do the show, I was just like praying about it and thinking about it, and I'm excited about doing the show with you every Thursday night here on ISBN Network. You know, I've been on radio for a while, for a long time back in the day.
Yeah, you have.
And I had my own network at one point, but you know, I took a hiatus, and it's good to be back, man.
I'm hearing you there. You did radio for a while.
Yeah,
you used to have your own show, and what is it? I Am Awake Radio?
Yeah, well, before I had I'm Awake Radio. That was the last station I had. But before that, I had one was called 98.5 WVER, and then before that, years. I mean, this was like, I guess 2009. I had Ninja Scroll Radio, and that's how I got hooked up with Freedomizer. They heard some of my shows, and that's when Kerry Corn, the conspiracy theorist, he was on Freedomizer at the time, and he heard some of my shows on Ninja Scroll Radio and asked me to hook up with them on there, which I did, and ended up doing a show with my man DJ Joshua Hunter. We did a show on there called Step Up to the Mic. We were on there for about 2 years, maybe, a year and a half or so. And then at the same time, I was on my own network, 98.5 WVER, and then I stepped off of that for a minute and then got back on with I'm Awake Radio. And that on I'm Awake Radio, I did mainly music shows, and I had my man, he rocked the beat maker. He did some other shows, some talk shows. It was really good stuff.
Yeah, you're definitely no amateur when it comes to this. You know what's going on with radio. I mean, you put the miles in, so to speak.
yeah, I put the work in, man. And like I said, it's good to. At one point, I kind of started not feeling it anymore. It was like sometimes when you do radio like this, you feel like nobody's listening. Number one, but then there was times when it didn't matter if anybody was listening. If one person heard my message, that's all that mattered. You know, I woke somebody up and I helped somebody get saved. That's the main reason why I was doing radio, and sometimes you lose focus. You know, when you look at numbers and who's listening, and I'm getting this many listeners this many months, this month I got this many listeners, and you know, and you look in the chat room every now and then, you might have 12 people, and then sometimes you have 5, and you know, you start to lose focus on why you're doing it. And the reason why you do it is not for the numbers; it's to help get somebody saved, man, and save lives for Jesus, save souls for Jesus Christ. And that's what. And so when you asked me to come back on there, I was thinking, you know what? I said, yeah, because maybe this is what I should be doing this. I should be reaching out and trying to wake people up, and at the same time, you know, trying to win souls for Jesus.
You know what? Exactly with that numbers thing. You know, I don't even really pay attention to them. You know, I'll go on every once in a while and take a look. I've already done shows where there's been no callers, but when it goes to the archive, it's like boom, a whole bunch of you see a bunch of people checking out the archives and all. I mean, it's always nice to have the live people there, which we do get. We have Eva here with us running the switchboards. She her numbers, looking at numbers, I was taking a look today, have been phenomenal. One of her shows, she had like 148 live listens or something like that.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's great.
She's
because,
plugging away.
It's great to see the numbers because you're reaching somebody. But like you were saying with the archives, I mean, you don't know who you're reaching. You might only get 15 live callers, 20 live callers. But when you get the archives, sometimes they can get into the thousands of people listening to it. But I remember I did one show on I think it was on my network, and I had to do another show on Freedomizer, and I was on Freedomizer talking about numbers like we're doing now, basically, and saying, like how sometimes you don't know if you're reaching anybody. And I had a caller call in, and he told me that he heard my shows on my other network and got saved from listening to my other shows, and he said he listened to the archives. And that gives me, the strength and the courage and the will to want to keep going, because that's what we're here for.
Right. And also to wake people up to what's going on, in the world. I mean, we know that a lot of these fights, they're not of flesh and blood. This is spiritual, what's going on. And the people that we're dealing with here, the string pullers, are some of the most evil people that walk this planet, no doubt. And you know what? If we wake one up or one gets saved, a week or every other week, listening to a show, hey, man, that's great, because you don't know what they're doing. You know what I mean? You don't know who they're talking with and fellowshipping with. It's great, And one thing I want to start doing here, and we have started doing, is use YouTube, uploading every show, not just a blog talk, taking the archive and actually putting it, a little video to it, or some image, and putting it on YouTube, because a lot of people, just do YouTube. So we do have an ISB network YouTube channel. The show that we did, me, you, David Nowitzki, Brother Dave, and Archaeologic, that show's on there. That was an awesome and very powerful show. I think it was one of the best ones I've ever done.
And that's great to do, because you get to reach out to another audience, of people. And, it's always good to reach out to people. And I mean, like you were talking about earlier, waking people up. And that's a great, for me, that's a great way to start off a conversation to lead into Jesus Christ and helping them get saved. I mean, you could start off talking about the Illuminati, which is to me, just a word. I mean, it's way bigger than them. But most people towards that word, they know that word. So, you can start off with that and waking people up to chemtrails and all that good stuff. But then I always bring it back around to what it's really about, and that's getting saved, because we can fight the New World Order and one world governments and all this stuff, and you can protest and you can march and do all that stuff and then die and go to hell. So all that was for nothing.
And you know what? There's plenty of
Go ahead.
There's plenty of stories out there of afterlife experiences. My uncle being one of them. He said when he was having a heart attack, and when the ambulance got there, he got in there and they started taking him. And he said, I guess he passed, and they're trying to revive him. And he said he remembers looking at the ambulance, and he said he started seeing this smoke billowing up, and all he could smell was like this foul stench of sulfur. Like one of the worst smells he's ever smelled in his life. And it finally everything just left, and he kind of came back, and he ended up waking up in the hospital. But that's one thing that he remembered, and it kind of changed his life. When you're dealing with something like that. But hey, let's do this before we really kick this thing off. We need to clear our throats.
Yeah. Ha. Look at here, let me clear my throat. Oh, have mercy, baby. Ha! I hope you don't mind. Let me clear my throat. Now, if y'all want to party like we do, if y'all want to party like us, let me hear you say, ah. If y'all want to party like we do, if y'all want to party like us, let me hear you say, ah.
Come Come on, let me hear you say it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
that was down in that was recorded at was at Bahama Bay down in Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that
DJ
song.
Cool.
Yeah. Did you ever hear the lyrics to that song, man?
Yeah,
Do you know what he says in that song?
Vaguely.
He says,
I cut him out.
when he's trying to hype the crowd up, he says, all the ladies out here, you know, you wanna get you a man, make some noise. And then they make noise. Then he says something like, and all the men out there who don't need no ladies and just want to get down with your man, let me make some noise.
Yeah, I cut it out.
There's some gay stuff in there, man.
Yeah, and he also says something about basically grabbing his junk, but I cut all that out. Yeah, we don't play that around here. Sorry.
It's just funny. It's just funny because you think a song like that, it's just funny how they sneak it in that way. Yep. I mean, you know, you're dancing, you're partying, and then he says, hey, make some noise up in this joint if you're a gay dude. And everybody's like, yay! And you're not even listening.
Yay!
You know what I mean? You clapping your hands like, yeah, I'm down with my man, yay! You know, make some noise in this joint. You making noise. He just said if you gay, make some noise.
Right. So some of the places I've been to, you do that, there's going to be some punches flying.
Yeah.
Some of the dudes I know don't play that. You know what? They're not politically correct, and they're never going to be, and they don't even go for that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, we live in a sick, crazy, freaking twisted world, full of perversion, full of temptation, full of preconditioning, full of indoctrination, full of propaganda. I mean, it's out of control. And then we got the BLM over here jacking people's land from them. I'm like, come on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just that whole situation is suspect. You know, the federal government shouldn't even be. Not legally, constitutionally, they're not even supposed to. They don't own any land, so I don't know how they can, you know, take somebody else's land. They don't own it. You know,
right.
It's just a lot of crazy stuff going on with that situation, which I'm sure we'll touch on later on in the show. And but it's just really weird how and the way this guy got killed the other day too. They like lured him out there. They're supposed to be going out there to talk and hash stuff out. Turned out they got ambushed.
Yeah.
You know, and this is the stuff the government does. This ain't the first time they've done stuff like this.
We were on Eva's show the other night, and her show's title called Our Reality. It's every Tuesday night, right here, 9 o'clock, and I guess Bruce and James, I believe, was the other caller. Eva, you jump in and please join. Correct me if I'm wrong here, but they called. They said they got an announcement coming from Oregon, and they had announced. Now these people personally know them. They had announced that the FBI came rolling in, arrested like 8 of them, and shot and killed one of them.
Wow.
You know.
Wow.
This is I sit and I think. You know, what gives them the right to kill, murder anybody? Well, a badge? But then we go and do it because we're sticking up and defending ourselves. Now all of a sudden you have to like capital punishment and everybody hates you and they're throwing the book at you because you stuck up for your life. But they can lawfully, well I should say unlawfully, or actually legally. Now this was interesting. The term legal versus lawful. Legal means the unraveling of God's laws. Lawful basically means God's laws. I could be wrong there. Eva, where are you? This is all said on your show. So for them to, kill you, that's legal. I just realized something. Hold on. I got to go back to the studio. I stepped outside. But it doesn't make any sense. How are you going to be allowed to kill and people applaud that, and then we go and do it, and you're an extremist and you're against the system and this, that, and the other thing. It's craziness, man. It's just total craziness.
It is craziness. you know, you put up words and how the word terms and stuff like that. Words have different meanings and stuff like that, like the word person and civilian and human. People need to look up what this stuff means. What is a person and what is a civilian? What's the legal definition of these things? Because they all mean different things. A person is not a human, and a civilian is not a person or a human. They're all different. You got to look up what these terms mean. You know what I'm saying? Because they'll use these things in order to get us trapped up. You know, when you go to court, you know, and what's on your person? They say stuff like that. Ain't that what they say? What's on your person?
Yeah. You know, they ask you, do you understand?
Yeah, or do you understand?
No, I don't understand.
I don't stand under what you're saying.
I don't understand. I don't stand under you, nor will I ever.
I don't stand under what you're saying. I'm not holding up that. I'm not holding up to that. I don't stand under that. That all these terms, all these words mean different things to them, and they use that against us when we go to courts.
Exactly. It's their jargon, and they count on people like me and you being so distracted, being so, you know, conditioned through their distractions. I mean, think about how many of those stupid law TV shows that are out there. You know, CSI, Crime Scene Investigators, or, you know, the X-Files for one. You know, they got the new series out now. But people listen to them talk about maritime law, and they think that's how it is. Maritime law is out in the ocean. That's nothing to do with land. Nothing to do with land.
No, but they use that canal, the canal word. Like you have a canal when you're out in the seas, and you have a canal that the boats pull into. They use the birth canal and the water coming out of the birth canal. That's how they justify that, using that maritime law.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about that before on one of the shows that we had done.
I think we were. I guess. I mean, we haven't done a lot of shows, but we've done enough. You know what I mean? And for me to forget where I said the last one. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you, listeners out there, me and Ninja were talking the other night. Man, we had one deep conversation. Well, we'll wait till July to do the Christmas in July show, but it revolved around Christmas. And man, Ninja, you had me thinking. I got off the phone with you, and I was like, wow, how can I justify this?
You know, it all comes down to what's biblical and what's not biblical. It's that easy. What's biblical, what is not biblical? What does the Bible say? What does man say?
Right.
That's all we I base my life on the Bible. Everybody, that's what we're supposed to do. You know what I mean? When people ask me questions about is the earth flat or whatever, anything, what's the Bible say? Somebody say, what's it say about gay marriage? What's the Bible say? What do you think about having more than one wife? What's the Bible say? What do you think about anything? What's the Bible say? That's my answer to everything. You can ask me my opinion, but my opinion is my opinion. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong. The Bible is 100% truth. So what does the Bible say about it? I can tell you what I think, but don't bank it on me. Because I'm not the Bible. You have to go by what the Bible says. And that's my main thing with every question anybody ever asks me. And I'm sure you say the same thing when we come to talking about this conspiracy stuff. We all say, don't listen to me. Don't listen to what I'm saying. Go out and look for it. Find out for yourself.
Go research it on your own.
Yeah, because I can tell. I don't want to be the one leading you astray. I don't want to lead you nowhere. A lot of times we'll do shows. I used to do shows on Freedom Eyes and my own network. I would be talking and somebody might call in and say stuff like, or they would just be listening. And I'll say, look, I'm not going to shout out a whole bunch of names and where to find this, that, because I'm leading you to the information. I can put out a link or two and say you can check this out, but I want you to do more than just that. Stop being lazy.
Right.
Look for the information for yourself, and that way you can make an informed decision of what is right and what is wrong, rather than me telling you, look over here, now look over here. Because I could be leading you in my, to fit my agenda. You know what I'm saying? I might have an agenda that I could be leading you to, and you only see the one-sided story rather than finding the whole thing. So it's always best that when you guys are listening to these radio shows, any of them, any of these alternative media shows or media outlets that we all go on, you have to make sure that you are verifying the information and that you know exactly what it is that you're looking at, and you can make an informed decision of what if it's right or wrong.
Yeah, and you got a filter. You put that filter on your mind. Not only when it comes to that, but what you're watching on TV.
Yep.
Lollipops and hand grenades is the title of this show, and I really wanted to talk about what we're talking about now, of course, but also how, like I mentioned earlier, about how they're aiming all their weaponry at our children. And you, as a parent, man, you are the filter. You have got children don't know any better, and they are so slick. Disney, with all their sexual innuendos that they put in their stuff, man. You've got to be a filter, like you're saying. You've got to discern what you're looking at. Like, don't take our word for it. Do your own research. And one of the things too, one thing leads to another. You might be researching fluoride and the harmful effects, the deadly effects that it has on your body. And all of a sudden you'll see something about GMOs, which might take you to geoengineering and weather wars. What's going on with that? You'll see something
upon HARP or something.
Yeah, they go to HARP. And then
upon HARP. You fall on a HARP, and then you fall on, and like for me, for instance, I started off, I didn't wake up. I mean, I'm a late bloomer to some of y'all. Some of y'all cats been awake forever. I didn't wake up until 2008 when Obama became president. And I'm like, why is everybody falling all over this dude? Is he the Antichrist? I was always into the Bible. I don't even think, I said I was saved. Back in the day, I said I was saved when I was younger, but I may have gotten saved when I was about 14 years old, 13 years old. I remember praying and asking God and the whole nine. But I'm not sure but I knew for a fact that I wasn't living my life the way that God intended me to live my life after I got saved. So, I don't think I was truly saved and awake until 2008 when I thought Obama was the Antichrist. I started researching that. And just like you said, man, it was like, boom, one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. Next thing I know, I was looking at Disney stuff. I never know about no Disney stuff. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, I got all this sex stuff in Disney's and PPs in castles and you know what I mean? I ain't want to say the whole thing, but y'all get it. It's like it's like you just fell right into everything, and it like broke me, man. I was up for like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. And by the time I was done, it was like 4 a.m. I was crying.
Yep.
I was crying because I said I've been lied to my whole life.
We all have been.
Yeah.
And it hits home hard because once you realize it, once that flip switches in your brain, and you just see it, and that gleam comes over your eyes, and you have it's almost like a knocked out moment. Like you feel a little punch drunk, like, whoa, the room's starting to swirl here. Like, what else what else have they lied to me about? And you start digging and digging and digging. And like I said, one thing leads to another. You start jumping into what is called the Illuminati. Now, you want to see the Illuminati for who they are. Take a look at the Bilderberg Group. Take a look at the CFR, Council on Foreign Relations. Take a look at the Trilateral Commission.
Club of Rome.
United Nations.
Committee of 300.
Yep. Well, they're basically run by them, or a lot of their industries are within that committee. The CEOs of their industries are there. But these supposed royal families, which a lot of us call satanic families or criminal families, you start looking into them, and your mind. I'll say this to anybody new out there that has just recently woken up. You need to really take it easy at first. Take one step at a time, because some of the info out there, Ninja, you wrote a song called The Lost Ones about the child trafficking going on. These people are behind it. These people are behind it. The same people that start the Salvation Army are the same people behind human trafficking or child trafficking. It's the whole, yin and yang thing. For all the bad that they do, they have to counteract it in some way with a good. But it is what it is. You can't be lukewarm.
Human trafficking is the biggest money maker in the world. People think it's drug. It makes way more money than drugs. Drug trafficking is nothing. The war on drugs and all that was a sham. Human trafficking is the biggest money maker in the world. You make tons and billions and billions and billions and billions and billions and trillions of dollars is way more than drugs. And it's disturbing. It's disturbing because whenever there's money involved, there's going to be some high officials in it too. They got to get theirs.
Absolutely.
So that's what it's all about.
There was
I'm in the studio now, guys.
Hey, how are you? We were calling on you a little bit ago, but I guess.
Sorry, I had to. I was listening to you, but I couldn't interrupt. But no, I had to reboot my whole computer, so I was kind of like locked out for a while.
That's why I ran back in. I'm like, wait, do I have to bring her in? I'm like, no, she can bring herself in. She's in the studio.
Welcome, Ninja, to ISB Network.
Thank you. I'm glad to be part of the family, and I hope I can bring some good stuff, to this network, and just spread the word of Jesus Christ. That's why I'm here.
Amen, brother. Well, welcome. Thank you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you guys for having me.
I'm trying to get a hold of a few people right now, so continue. Sorry for interrupting you guys.
No, it's good. It's all good. Yeah, but that human trafficking, man, right back to the filter thing, right back to being a parent. You watch over your children and yourself.
Yep.
Just because you're older now don't mean that you're safe. I know a woman, she told me a story one time how she was in a nightclub, and remembering back, she started feeling real dizzy, and thank God one of her friends was there to help her get out of there. But there were these guys like pulling on her and like trying to take her, and she said they were just almost not human, no expression on their face, really whacked out looking. And her friend's like, what are you doing? Leave her alone, And they're trying. Her friend was rescuing her. Thank God her friend was there that night and saw what was going on. Basically, I honestly think that they slipped her a Mickey, and were trying to get her, abduct her out of there, either to, basically, from the way that she described it, these men were evil. So I know they weren't going to take her and rape her. Maybe they would have, but the human trafficking. So just as an adult, you women out there, you need to be careful as well. You need to always be on guard and guard your children, always. There's so many parents out there.
Know your surroundings.
Exactly. But there's so many parents out there that just don't give a crap about their children. They let them do whatever they want. They let them watch on TV whatever they want. And what do we call TV? Programming. They're programming your mind. There's so many inappropriate things that these children are watching these days. There's a lot. There's a lot, between the witchcraft, between all, the sexual innuendos out there going on, whether it be, silent, like, kind of like trying to get it behind your back, sneak it through, or straight up in your face. I mean, you watch the Kardashians, that's trash right there.
It don't even have to be that even. I mean, that's definitely part of the television and the programming. But then there's also programming like the shows like Everybody Loves Raymond and Blackish and all these other shows like that, where they show kids disrespecting their parents, and the kids are basically running the household. Yep. You know what I'm saying? The parents are the idiots, and the kids are running around doing whatever they want. Modern Family, these shows like that, dressing any way they want and doing stuff like that. They're programming your kids to be that way.
The mouth back. Disrespect,
the mouth back, the act up, disrespectful, the whole thing. It's all that. It's what you were talking about. And that combined, is the way that they're programming our kids to act. So, like you said, you have to be the filter. You have to make sure that they don't watch it, and if they do watch it, you gotta let them know you the boss. I don't care what that TV show said. I don't care how those kids act in that TV show. We ain't a TV show. You know what I mean? This is real life.
Right. Exactly.
And I'm the pop. I'm the dad. I run this place. And if you don't like it, you can get out, or I'm gonna whip your butt, one or the other.
Are you guys ready for callers?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, who we got?
We have Lou.
Oh, Lou, Tennant. Bring him on in.
Hey, Lou.
Hey, what's up?
Open My Podcast. What's going on?
What's going on, dudes? I was just listening in and definitely feeling the vibe here on parenting and stuff, but caught me off guard because I haven't raised my hand yet. But You guys are doing awesome, man. Keep up the good work. I definitely wanted to talk about programming and television, because you can talk about TV shows that are made to instill things into our minds, but the news is also a big part of that. And it's also the same. TMZ is our news today, and even the morning news is all about, how to look your prettiest, and it's not about real information. It's just troubling to the people out there that are developing their children's minds, and they allow them to sit there and watch garbage.
I forget. You bring up the news, and the news is like, it's almost, the news now has become like talk shows. The news reporters are like stars. They try to act like they somebody. You come out and see me over this place. Come out and see me. You're just a news reporter. You know why? Why? You know what I'm saying? But it's just like it's like a big talk show. It's like they come on there, like you said. It's like they just
got like 5 shows.
Heavily. Yeah, that's the news. That's our whole news media, from NBC News to CBS, whatever news show you watch in your local town. That's what the news has become, like a talk show.
What do you guys watch?
Nothing.
I watch some stuff. And I'm not going to sit there and say I don't watch TV, because I do watch TV, but I'm mindful of what I watch, number one. Number two, a lot of the stuff that I watch, I try to break down and try to figure out what they're telling me and why they're telling me this, which help me research stuff at the same time. So, like, especially the movies, I love breaking down movies. I love watching. I watch the movie first. First time I watch it is for the entertainment value, but I see what's going on in it. Then I'll watch it again, and I'll break down everything that's happened in that movie. Like the movie Shark Tale, I think it's a Disney movie, but that whole movie was about the shark was gay, and he was teaching your kids to be gay. That's what he's doing. Yes, when you watch that movie Shark Tale, he almost said it, and Will Smith's character cut him off and said something different. He was the only shark out of all his brothers that didn't want to eat nobody else. All the other sharks wanted to eat the little dude, but he didn't.
A vegetarian shark.
His brothers were bullied. They were big, burly, like manly sharks. He wasn't. He was different from his brothers.
One thing I always heard, and I think it definitely holds true. Their programming and the crap that they put in there, and I'm not talking what's coming straight at you. They put a lot of subliminal messages and things as well. But once you're awake, it doesn't work. Their programming is broken when it comes to people like us.
Because we see what they're trying to do.
Yep, we can see what's going on. Even when it comes to the symbolisms and the imageries that they love to put in there, but even
you sit there
and you watch it, you're like,
even the themes of the show, of the movies that they're and the TV shows, like I said, if you watch Shark Tales and you watch it with an open eye, you will see exactly what I'm saying. That they are trying to program your kids that it's okay to be gay. Because at the end, everybody loved that shark. Everybody was cool with him. He was fine. He was just like everybody else. It's okay to be that way, and that's what the whole movie was about. Him and his struggle of coming out of the closet. And when he finally came out of the closet, they said, "Okay, you don't have to eat no fish. You can be a vegetarian." Because that's what Will Smith said. He said everybody's going to think that I'm. And Will Smith shut him up. His character said, "What? A vegetarian?" And he said, "Yeah." So the whole movie was about that.
Well, how about,
I'm gonna have to play that movie.
We know. Like, if you look at Aleister Crowley, now we know a lot of these not only musicians but also movie actors are big into Aleister Crowley, the OTO, which he got up and going, or was a part of, and he wrote that book. I was going to actually buy it because I wanted to read it. It was a book explaining the book called Sex Magic.
Yeah. And
there's a lot of sex magic going on in Hollywood, big time. And I was just watching something today. They said young girls between the ages of 6 and 9 are, hold on, let me think of the term, what is the word, not sexually active, the sexualization of them is very real. Between the ages of 6 and 9, they're already looking for that gaze of a man.
And
they want to try to turn him on between 6 and 9.
That's Alfred Kinsey said the same thing in his books, all his crazy books that he got out. He talked about the same thing. I don't know if y'all know about Alfred Kinsey, but this dude was very evil, and he would man, he got 2 books out that named the most dangerous books in the world. Both of them.
Wow.
One about the sexuality of men, and the other one about the sexualization of women. He says in the one book about men that all men are gay, or like 50% gay, or something like that. He has charts in his books of him and other pedophiles having sex with kids as young as 2 months old.
Man,
charting,
really? So can I jump in real quick?
Go ahead.
I want to, I don't want to beat around the bush, but I don't agree with not liking gay people. The pedophile thing definitely could understand. I feel like there's nothing wrong with being homosexual. There's been studies that it's not a mental disorder. I understand that it's in a book, so that we have to go by the rules. But my question is, what is wrong with being homosexual?
Let me clarify this, because I didn't, and I was going to, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I never said there was anything wrong with being homosexual. What's wrong is people trying to push it on my kids. That's what's wrong. I don't have a problem.
Okay.
If you want to be gay, you can be gay, but don't try to make everybody else gay. That's
how
the
do they
issue
do
I have
that?
with them.
Well, it's a sexual act. It's a sexual act. That's how you can look at it. It's a sexual act. There should be no sexual innuendos at all in any way, shape, or form in children's cartoons or children's movies.
That's one way. But even by promoting it in the cartoons the way they've done it subliminally, and if you look up in some California schools, they have classes on it. They teach it in some California schools that it's fine to be that way. But that's not
only. Sorry to cut you off, but not only just the teaching of cartoons or whatever, and I know what you're talking about with the schools, which is nuts. It's beyond out of control. But I'm trying to watch movies with my sister, and every movie that I put on, I make sure it's filtered with at least PG-13. But every movie I show is got a boy and a girl kissing in every movie. I've been paying attention to that. And about 5 or 6 movies that I played, there's a dude and a girl kissing in every movie. You don't think that has an influence in making a person choose right then?
Oh, yeah. This is the thing, Lou. I remember my mother telling me this. She's like, the movies that you're watching that are PG, back when I was a child, they would have been like either PG-13 or rated R. So you see how they slowly, how can I put this? They slowly let things through that are more of an explosion of the mind or more of a sexualization. They let it go through at a younger and younger and younger age. It's kind of like what they do with the radiation levels with Fukushima. Say like the allowable radiation in tuna was like 0.3%. That was sufficient. But ever since Fukushima, let's raise it up to like 0.10%. So that's what they're basically doing. They're raising. They're lowering the filter as they raise the content. So basically, if we're looking at a rated R show now, whether let's say 50 Shades of Grey, that could have been like considered soft porn back in the day, and it would have been rated X. You have rated X, rated XX, or triple X. So a lot of these PG shows, they're actually PG-13. So you really have to watch. I do not. This is how I look at it. I'm not. Not only with my children, but I have a young niece now, and I watch myself around her. I don't want to dirty a child's mind in any way, shape, or form, and I'm not going to present something to them before their time. Especially when it comes to sex. Sex will ruin a person, not only through disease, but what you expect out of the relationship, and then what it does to a woman or to the boy. These girls between the ages of 6 and 9, with the sexualization that's going on with them, it's not even about who they are or what they believe in or the fact that God made them perfect, in His eyes. No, they're trying to make themselves out to be maybe something that they're not, just to attract somebody between the age of 6 and 9. They shouldn't be worried about this stuff. They should be playing with like toys, Legos or something. I don't know.
And
this
you
is
know,
the topic of lollipops and grenades. I was a little confused what that meant, but you're giving them something while you're giving them something that's going to hurt them. Is that what it means? Is that where am I close to what you're?
What is a hand grenade? It's something that's explosive and can kill you. You know, it's not something you want a child to play with. So what does this government do, or the string pullers do? You know, they hand them a lollipop. They yank that away. They say, "Here, take this." They hand them a hand grenade. So it's like, you know, they're switching it up on them. You know, you can look at, like, you know, these cartoons, and, you know, if you're not really aware of, like, Disney and some of the crap that they do, you're thinking that your child's, like, licking a lollipop when they're actually playing with a hand grenade. You know, it comes down to the mind.
I went to see The Good Dinosaur, and I couldn't believe, you know, I'm sitting in the theater, and there's a scene where the little boy who's supposed to be like a dog, he's like a caveman, and the dinosaur is like more of a human. They kind of threw a twist on it. But anyway, the little boy, he's trying to feed the big dinosaur, and the dinosaur's angry at him for some reason, and they don't like each other, but the little guy keeps trying to give him something to eat. So he brings him this bug, and it's kind of a big bug. It's almost big, it's bigger than he is, the little boy, and the little boy just rips his head off, and he throws its body at the dinosaur. And I'm thinking, like, little kids are seeing this decapitation, and it's like, it's funny to them. It's like a joke, but this is going on around the world. People are getting decapitated everywhere in the Middle East too.
It's desensitizing them.
Yes, exactly. And you know what? There was a movie put out. Go ahead, Lou. I'm sorry.
My bad. Go ahead, dude. Go ahead and finish what you're saying.
Well, I wanted to, you mentioned that, and there's another movie that Disney put out called Rocket Boy. You guys ever see that?
I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
That movie, the beginning of it was so intense. It brought a tear to my eye. I'll admit that. But I'm thinking, like, as I'm watching this, like, this is like geared at children? Like, just because it's animated, but the storyline was so mature and beyond that. Basically, there was a scientist, and he was working in a lab, and they created these robots. And they had, like, an arena where they were, like, testing these things out, like these militarized robots for, like, death and destruction. And the man's son got stuck in the arena, and the doors locked when they went to run this thing. And the kid, the scientist's son or whoever he was, the inventor's son, was trying to get out of this arena. And he's panicking. He couldn't open up the doors. And his son's sitting there trying to get out, and he's, like, looking at his, looking up, and they're showing him, like, panicking to get out of there. And all of a sudden, the robot turns his attention to him, and you see this thing, it's like you're looking through the robot's eyes, and it says something like threat, and it killed him.
Mm.
So what happened was he ended up creating a robot that looked like his son.
Wow.
And he couldn't, it was, man, to watch the movie Rocket Boy, it's very touching, and the Rocket Boy, there's a lot of lessons in this one, man. And I remember back when I was watching, I wasn't the Father of the Year award, man. I just had too many distractions in my life, and I really didn't pay attention to my family like I should have been. I mean, I was, but, I wasn't full-time father. And that movie really got me thinking, but the one part where the Rocket Boy, this transhumanism robot boy that he made, looked at him and said, Father, I'm sorry that I couldn't be a good son. And what it was this thing that he made that got placed in, like, I think the chest area or something. That's what brought life to the robot. And so he basically created a robot son, and he felt like he could never do good in his father's eyes. Well, that goes on a lot with children. They feel like they can never do good in their parents' eyes. And that comes down to maybe how we're parenting. Back to lollipops and hand grenades, man. We've got to uplift our children. We've got to tell them that, you can do it when they think they can't do it. We've got to be that uplifting influence in their life, not only their filter, but we have to be that good influence. The people, they're cheerleaders. The people that are cheering them on to excel and win at life. Because let's face it, guys.
I agree with that. Let me just cut in real quick. I agree with what you're saying, and at the same time, you have to make sure that they're setting realistic goals too. You have to let them know,
yes.
you know, there has to be realistic goals. You know,
don't forget about temptation.
What's that?
Don't forget about temptation, because I'm hearing Renegade right now, and something always in the back of my head's going, but wait a second, because you know I've been taking care of my brother and sisters for years now, and I've always tried to uplift them, but when they get to a certain age, it's like you can't be doing this and that and that and this and this and that and that, and they start doing all that behind your back, man, and you think you can trust them, and suddenly you get them these phones that are complete temptation, man. No human being can resist a phone.
You gotta remember, it's you can only do so much. Like you can talk to your sisters in the same way I can talk to my kids about not doing this, not doing that. We have to remember that we can only instill, you know, what we can into them, and we got to trust that they're going to take what we instilled into them and apply it to their lives. Not everybody will, but you just got to, and you're doing a good job if you're telling them the right thing to do, you know, and you're trying to instill righteousness in them. That's all you can do. You know, from there you got to trust that they're going to take that, what you told them, and apply it to their life and live their life the way they're supposed to live it. But, you know, everybody, like you said, the temptation is going to be there. You're going to slip up. You're going to have problems. You're going to, you know, I tell my kids, you know, not to curse and all that, but I know they curse when I'm not there. You know what I'm saying? I did it when I wasn't around my mother and father. So I know they curse, but I'm hoping that they're not cursing out a teacher. I'm hoping they're not cursing out a storm. But who knows if cursing is even a sin? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if Moses cursed, you know? We don't know if that's a sin. That's not actually in the Bible clearly laid out. Not to say it says stuff about, you know, having a foul mouth, but it doesn't say that that's what it means, that the word shit is a bad word. When did that become a bad word? Who was the first one to say that? And then say, I can't say that's a bad word. You know what I mean? Who determined that?
It does talk about your tongue, you know, not cutting people down and using it to speak righteousness.
Yeah. So my point is that cursing? Does that mean not to curse? I don't know. I know saying stuff disrespectfully to other people, that is talking about that. If my kid curses out a teacher, that's disrespectful, and that's wrong.
I'm guessing going back.
Excuse me, guys. We have a caller on with their hand open. Hand up, and they have the latest on what's going on in Oregon. I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yes, James. Bring him on in.
This is James. Welcome, James.
Hey, Renegade, Eva. How you guys doing?
Good. Welcome to the new element. What's going on out there, man? That was pretty disturbing news the other night on Tuesday. We were all part of the Eva show.
Dude, it just ratcheted up real bad. Couple things. I don't know. You want me to actually read the PPN call to action or not? Because that was just posted tonight. PPN put out a call.
You want to give me a favor real quick. Give the listeners a heads up on what's going on and what happened on Tuesday, and then go ahead.
We lost one of our own, Lavoy Finicum. It was our spokesman basically for what was going on in Oregon. He had family, wife, kids, and pretty much there was some contradictory information put out. People got to understand on the other night when this stuff went down, basically what had happened was they had been invited. And I don't know if anybody really realizes this, but if you remember, Sheriff Mack was running around, and people have their ideas about Sheriff Mack. I don't even want to get into that at this point in time, but you know, anybody that knows about Sheriff Mack, he was running around out west, down into like Texas, Nevada, Arizona, upwards, I think as far up as Ohio. I mean, he was kind of running around out there. I think he even came over this way, east, to a degree as well, but I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but I know he was out west. And he was encouraging the Leos, the sheriffs out that way, and to make sure that they were standing for the Constitution, that they were, defending their people. And, of course, with the stuff going on in Oregon, we know that supposed sheriff was an abysmal failure.
Yeah.
And also come out that it's also come out, by the way, and I don't know if anybody knew this either about him, he was BLM before he became sheriff. And the retiring sheriff ended up appointing him, and Grasky appointed him. He was not elected. He was appointed.
Now, for the listeners out there, the BLM is the Bureau of Land Management. They took it upon themselves to bully people out of their own land. Remember, we the people own this land, not this government. Well, they do the government's bidding.
So what ended up happening the other night, okay? Of course, Bundy and LaVoy, they're both from Arizona. They come up in order to help the Hammonds out. And with the injustice going on with that and everything that erupted in Oregon, they ended up, protesting at the refuge. But one of the things that they've been doing is, for one, they've been going into the town, trying to talk with people. And then the other thing that they were doing, they were also talking and setting up like meetings and town hall meetings even with some of the local counties surrounding the area and some of the actual constitutional sheriffs that are there in the area. And what ended up happening the other night is they basically were going to one of these meetings over in a county close by. And anybody that's military, ex-military out there, you know what a kill box is. For those who don't know, it's one of two things. It's a cul-de-sac where three sides are closed off, or it is a valley where there's an artificial closing at the one end, so that way there's only one way in and one way out. What wound up happening is as two vehicles were on their way to one of these meetings, they got bushwhacked by FBI. And there were two vehicles. One of them housed Emma Bundy, driver, and some passengers. The other vehicle, from what I'm learning, was LaVoy's actual truck itself. He was driving. And he had Eamon's brother, which I can't remember off the top of my head. Eamon's brother was with him. Ryan Bundy. Okay, Ryan Bundy was with him. Payne was with him, and there was a female passenger, very young female passenger. Victoria. Right. Okay. And basically, the way the account goes down in Victoria's voice account, right after things happened, what ended up happening is the FBI bushwhacked him, and basically Eamon's vehicle with his driver stopped. LaVoy ended up basically putting hands outside the car to let them know he was unarmed, and basically it said, we're going to see a sheriff, and he continued driving. Something happened somehow, not sure exactly, but evidently there was some loss of control, whether it was snow or whatever. They ended up going into a snowbank. And all of them at that point in time then went ahead and they put their hands out the window and they were shot at. And things were worked out to the point where LaVoy convinced them to try to let the females out, and they just kind of refused. He wound up getting out.
You mean to tell me they put their hands out the window to basically show that they're don't want any confrontation, and they start getting shot at?
One shot at that point in time. At that point in time, there was one shot. Evidently, it was directed towards LaVoy. LaVoy ended up ducking enough that, and then there was no other shot. There was pause. He ended up getting out with his hands up because of the women in the vehicle, and his hands were in the air. And Victoria relayed all this during that voice call that she did that was posted online.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what ended up happening is, we know how they've been. LaVoy was on edge. He wasn't evidently armed at that point in time. I guess the way that I understand it, they had sidearms, but they were in the vehicle. So when he got out, he didn't have sidearm at that point, and he was moving, I think, towards the back of the vehicle, and they ended up, his hands were up. They shot him, and then they started firing on the vehicle.
Wow.
Do you know how many shots were fired?
She's estimating anywhere between 120.
What?
This vehicle, look, we'll know more because there's more. Wait. Wait. Friends of ours.
This is craziness here. This land is we the people's. Let's get this straight. No agency, corrupt, unlawful agency, can just step in and try to take over your land. And when you're trying to be peaceful and not showing any aggression, for these agents to start firing on you, every single one of them bullets is a death wish. Understand that. 100 some rounds got fired into these vehicles.
100 to 120, and they didn't even return fire.
What is going on here,
quick.
Americans?
Let me say something real quick. Where have we heard this story at before? Where have we heard this? With somebody having their hands up and then cops killing them?
Yeah,
all over the
up,
place.
Don't shoot. Black Lives Matter. How come they ain't up there? Why ain't they up there protesting?
Yeah, well, guess what? I put that out in the rant that I put out today on draft. But we were talking about it earlier today, and I told people, because, see, this is the sticking point with this. Okay, and this is my analysis at this point in time. There is leaked video, by the way. He did have his hands up. They're, pardon my French, fucked. We have
Good. They're murderers.
It's going to be posted here in a
bit.
But
my thing is, like, why isn't the media saying, when any black guy, I'm a black dude, you know what I'm saying? But I'm speaking about humans. I'm not talking about black and white. This is about the human people, you know. Black lives matter, white lives matter. Little babies in the womb matter. All that matters.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So why aren't they up there? Why isn't this in the news being reported like it was when the dude from Ferguson got shot? He had his hands up, don't shoot. How come it's not all up in the news? It's all they're trying to start stuff.
I can tell you why. Because this is something that I've been going back and forth with my little circle here about a lot of the day as I was trying to finish up that draft I was writing. Here's the way I see it, and this is what I think happened. I think it was manipulated. They wanted it to be a psyop and everything else.
Right.
And they manipulated. Bundy gave them a black eye at Bunkerville.
Yeah.
They wanted they wanted a piece of him. And they knew damn well the kind of man he was. If they, screwed with other ranchers that he could get to, a chance out that he was going to, because of just the kind of guy he is. And they drew him out. He went up there. Okay? The thing that bothered me and that I couldn't figure out was that, well, for one, we've seen some live feeds with some real idiots in it. People can't figure out by now, those are some of the infiltrators that were in there to make us all look bad.
Pete Sanchilli?
Yeah, well, not just him. Did you see some of the other ones with the, come and get some, and just stupid shit, man? Really. They were being very overdramatic and just, they made us look like mentally deficient, honestly, the ones that I saw. So I knew damn well what those were about. But what I was getting at is, what stuck with me is it's like, okay, well, why did they just slaughter the whole freaking convoy? If this was really about certain things and silencing, why the whole convoy? And finally, us talking about this and going back and forth and trying to pinpoint why Lavoie. We figured it out. I'm pretty sure we figured it out. Okay? The boy, for one, was like the vocal out in front, all right? He acted as a spokesperson. And he said, and he made it very clear, that if he had to die for this, he would. And that's what they intended to use. And I told people earlier today while we were talking about this, after I figured that part of it out, with some prodding from some others and, pushed me in different directions in that aha moment, I told them, I said, you watch. They're going to come out and they're going to try and say he was armed, he went for his weapon, and they killed him. Watch, it's coming. Lo and behold, what came out later on today. That's exactly the route they tried to take.
Well, that's
you
just
know what,
like
you know what?
the...
Let me say this real quick. You know what's crazy is when I was watching it on the news, on the so-called news, they said that they were going to meet some FBI agents and they got pulled over, and then the news people said, and something happened and he got shot.
And something happened.
No, they weren't going to meet FBI.
And something happened. What does that mean? And something happened?
No, here's the way the FBI lied. All right. Before I called into you guys, because Eva asked me to update you guys, I was listening to a live and on broadcast of Brandon Curtis. Okay? This is where it came out about the video. Like I said, we have it. He had his hands up. Brandon has it as well. But it's been distributed to make sure that, it's safe.
Good.
We got it. But on that, damn it, pray for it. Bear with me. I'm sleeping about every other day of late with everything that's going on.
Well, let's go ahead and think about that.
Ahead.
Let's ask the FBI. Why do you guys think that you can do what you do?
I'm Batman.
They're Batman. Okay.
That's what it was. He wasn't. They weren't going to meet FBI. Okay, that was a part of the lie. I'll get to that in a second. They were supposed to be going to meet a sheriff, one of the constitutional sheriffs. That's exactly what it was about, and that's where they were going. Obviously, somebody inside, or it could have been, technically, it didn't have to be inside, but inside was the only ones that knew when they were going to leave. All right? Now, outside knew when the meeting was supposed to be happening and where, because it was sort of publicized in the area. Anybody could have called them and told them, hey, there's this meeting coming up, such and such time, they're going to be here. All right? Where the FBI pulled their bullshit, okay, a couple different places. For one, after they bushwhacked these guys the other night and killed LeBoy, assassinated them, they had suggested that, people could leave the refuge. They were free to go if they left. That was it.
That was a setup right there, I believe.
Yeah, well, I'm getting to that because Brandon went into, evidently, I guess it was tonight, earlier, or last night. Sorry, can't remember which. It was one of two. He had a guy inside that was like, I want to come out. I'm done. He ended up talking with FBI, okay? And he asked, look, he's coming out. You guys said they were free to leave. He doesn't have transportation. We're coming to the, block at the refuge, all right? And we're going to pick him up. And he's free to leave, right? FBI told him, yeah, I'll come out. He came out. What do you think they did?
Went after him.
Arrested him.
Yep, went after him. Of course.
Yep.
They did the same with the Brown family.
Yeah, there is
Ed and
no
Elaine
honor
Brown.
there. There is no honor there.
Yep.
Ed
and Elaine Brown.
They are called agents because they are agents of a corporation operating under charter. People need to look into that.
Yep.
That's why they're called agents.
Yep.
Well, hey, let's. We are at the top of the hour. We're going to take a quick commercial break here. James, you want to hang on for a little bit?
Oh, I can. I mean, I don't have much more to say on the whole Oregon stuff at this point in time, other than reading the PPN call to action. But they are mobilized.
Yeah, I wanted you to get into that. Let's take a quick commercial break here, and we will be right back. And you can get into that, James.
All righty.
Awesome. All right, hang tight. We'll bring you right back. All right, we are going to step out about 5-10 minutes, maybe at the most, and play a few commercials, and we'll be right back. Here we go.
Some of us are against the Illuminati, and we are against the Illuminati at our own detriment. When people are against the Illuminati, then they get punched in the face all the time. The press hates them, and nobody likes them. End quote. Dave Chappelle has never been a part of the Illuminati. They don't want him or me or people like us. Yeah. But now it's not necessary for us to store up that hornet's nest unless we intend to get stung 1,000,000 times. I didn't understand that. They had to sting me 1,000,000 times. I'm still not going to join, but I respect it a little more.
This song is dedicated to all of the missing kids and their families. We're praying for you. They're the lost ones, never recognized. That's the case. Pay the cost with their lives, see the pain in their face. Doesn't matter what the age, gender, or even race. Pedophiles and the Satanists are on the chase. Hear they cry late at night, locked in a dark place. Politicians on the right and left, they can't wait for the young sacrifice delivered on a plate. Kidnapped in the cover of night from out of state for rape or child porn. So much is going down. Was the CIA really involved in Boys Town? Do they run a front organization underground called the Finders? The search for kids all around and sold as sex slaves. The schools are breeding ground. Government is involved, documents are found. Relentless child trafficking, evil bloodhound. Charges swept under the rug without a sound. Black magic spells and worship of the sun. Spiritual warfare, the battle has begun. Child trafficking things the government's done. It's taking every day, missing by the sun. Oh, what a very thing, a web-based fun. Made to deceive us, teaching everyone. All you believe this could all be done. Families grieve, let's pray for the lost. Satanic rituals, black clothes and slit throats and ghosts and pentagrams and chants of men wrote. Hillary and Bill Clinton had sex with young folks, told by their unwitting slaves with Velcro. CIA, Julian West, man, he's no joke. Shock therapy, taking the brain, pride and poke. Sleep deprivation, you feel there's no hope. Trauma-based mind control as they touch and grow. Issues in Hollywood for real, without a doubt. Kids are not immune to the casting couch. National Security Act, media blackout. Cops investigate, then told to back out. Trigger words when they're heard, assassins act out. Handlers bring them back whenever they pass out. Vatican and they pedophile priests don't stand out. With the blowers speak up, then they snuff the man out. Black magic spells and worship of the sun. Spiritual warfare, the battle has begun. Child trafficking things the government's done. It's taking every day, missing by the ton. Oh, what a very single web-based fun. Made to deceive us, each and every one. All you believe this could all be done. Families grieve, let's pray for the lost one. Black magic spells and worship of the sun. Spiritual warfare, the battle has begun. Child trafficking things the government's done. It's taking every day, missing by the ton. Oh, what a very single web-based fun. Made to deceive us, each and every one. All you believe this could all be done. Families grieve, let's pray for the lost one. Petrified young souls tortured and beat down. Held captive in the Vatican, deep underground. Gagged and all tied up, they can't make a sound. Witchcraft ceremonies with priests all around. And satanic symbols on walls can be found. Baphomet statues and the cross upside down. Dagon, the sun god, fish hat is the crown. Pope, the gold scepter is the cross bent round. Black magic spells and worship of the sun. Spiritual warfare, the battle has begun. Child trafficking things the government's done. It's taking every day, missing by the ton. Oh, what a very single web-based fun. Made to deceive us, each and every one. All you believe this could all be done. Families grieve, let's pray for the lost one. Black magic spells and worship of the sun. Spiritual warfare, the battle has begun. Child trafficking things the government's done. It's taking every day, missing by the ton. Oh, what a very single web-based fun. Made to deceive us, each and every one. All you believe this could all be done. Families grieve, let's pray for the lost one.
The government, they don't want you to use
your drugs. They want you to use their drugs. So every night on TV, you see a weird-ass drug commercial trying to get you hooked on some legal shit. And they just keep naming symptoms till they get one that you got, okay?
My bones.
Yeah, and we are back, Renegade
right
Smith
on.
and Ninja
Oh my
Scroll.
Yeah.
Great intro. Thank you, Renegade.
You're welcome. I want to listen to that because I didn't get a chance to check the levels, but I pulled down some of that reverb. Anyway, that was the promo for Eva Show, Our Reality, every Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific, right here on ISBN. And we got James back, and I see a guy sitting there, right there in the studio. He goes by the name of Dennis Ford. Man, it'd be great to have him join the show tonight.
I just kind of like dogged Dennis. He had his hand up earlier.
Yeah,
hey,
bring him
Dennis.
in.
I did.
Dennis,
Danny.
you are on the air.
Thank you. Thank you for taking my call here in the second hour. I appreciate it.
Hey, check this out, people. Dennis Ford is hanging with us. Yeah. So, hey, we got James on. I'm guessing you were hearing what he was saying about what's going on up in Oregon. Let me get your thoughts real quick before James goes into that write-up that they did.
Hey, man, that whole situation that's going on, it's, we're not on the ground, and apparently the best journalist we can get is Pete Chantilly. So, saying Chili. So, I really don't know. I'm kind of reserving my thoughts on that whole situation. But before we go into that, I just want to throw this out there because this is why I put my hand up earlier, because this whole show, the whole topic behind tonight's show,
Lollipops and hand grenades.
Right. What the whole show was designed about is that, the elite, whatever you want to call them, the people that control television, the people that control entertainment industry, they know that the children are the future, and this is why they target the children. And they've been doing this since I was a child, back in the early 80s. Even then, I was being targeted and being programmed into a certain mind frame, if you will. But this is nothing new. This has been going on for a long time. This is why television was invented, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think at the end of the day, a lot of people really have to understand. You can't just come home from work and throw your child in front of a television set and wonder why your preteen or your teenager is getting pregnant, and now you want to ask questions.
There you go, Danny. That TV became the babysitter. The TV became the babysitter.
Right, it did.
The whole plan is to capture a whole generation. If you can get one generation to buy into what the new world order system is going to be, you can change the world. Just one generation
right, exactly.
can do it.
And that's what I'm saying. When they target the children, a lot of television shows are designed for 20, 30-year-olds or whatever, but majority of things that are on television right now are designed for the youth. And like I said, this has been going on since, when I was a child. A lot of television programs were designed, and then they hit the commercial break, and then you're getting hit with all that when they go to commercials. So it's just, this is not some random occurrence. This is very well developed program that they've designed.
Lots of think tanks. Lots of think tanks.
It's social engineering. Social engineering is what it is.
Yeah, and I'm kind of preaching to the choir here, talking to you guys about this. But if anything, I want to say, having Ninja Scroll on the show, man, it's amazing to hear from Ninja Scroll. I don't know when was the last time I've been on a show with him, but I appreciate every time he does decide to join us on shows, because a lot of knowledge in what Ninja Scroll does, and that song you played during the break as well,
The Lost Ones.
Yeah, just a lot of knowledge, and he's not doing any of this because he doesn't know what's going on. He's very well aware of what's going on. So anybody out there, I recommend you go check out Ninja Scroll's music. Don't take my word for it. Go check it out for yourself.
Yeah, he's got some in-depth music. I remember when we premiered his new album. That show was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
When I asked you about the Lost Ones, Ninja, you like started talking about the child trafficking, which we were talking about earlier, and I was like, wow, you went there. That's awesome. You're not afraid. You're not afraid to speak about what's going on. You put the truth out there.
Well, it's a lot. And with the child trafficking stuff, it's a lot. With the finders and all these different cult groups and all this stuff. But I thank y'all for Dennis. I thank you, man. And I've been in a couple of your shows before, and You know,
Yeah,
I thank you
definitely.
for everything you do, man. I do. I thank you for what all you guys do. James, what you're doing, exposing what's going on up there in Oregon.
Yeah,
Luke,
like I
for coming
said, we'll
on
get
the
into
show.
that. We'll get into that
Yeah.
as well. But Sean, I just want to tell you, man, with your history, you know, because you haven't always been doing the music that you've been doing, and we've talked about that before on past shows. But
Yeah.
you know, I definitely want to appreciate, you know, the road that you traveled and the road that God put you on to where you are now, because meeting you on social media is, you know, a highlight for me. I'm very thankful that I ran into you, brother.
Danny, you're the one that introduced me to Sean, to the Ninja.
All right, well, yeah, I mean, exactly. I'm very thankful that we interacted with each other and we're still doing what we do. You know, we don't agree on everything. We don't always agree on everything, but I definitely appreciate your friendship, man. I'm glad I know you, Sean. You know, I want to tell you that.
The same goes for me, man. I appreciate your friendship, and I thank you guys for, you know, all the times I've been on your show. I thank you for letting me come on, and like you said, we don't agree on everything, but that's not the issue right now, you know.
Right, yeah.
You know, I'm a born again Christian. I'm a Bible believing Christian, and I speak right from the Bible. That's just where I am, you know. So I'm going to come to you.
I'll say this: there's very rarely things that we don't agree on. You know, it's very rare.
That's true.
Something
That's
that we
rare.
don't agree on.
It is very rare, and you know, our friendship, you know, it's more for most all you guys that are my friends, you know, that are into what we're talking about here on social media. I mean, it's more than just being on Facebook. It's a real connection. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I wish that one day I could meet all of y'all. And I've said it many times on Facebook, in my status, whatever, that I would love to be able to get together and hang out with all you guys, man. Because I mean, it'd just be great to have fellowship with other people that see.
Right.
Yeah, man. If we could all hang out, you know, if we can hang out and chill, that would be, you know, that'd be awesome. And you know, the same thing goes for AJ and Eva as well. You know, at this point, you know, the radio community, the people that we work with, whether they're guests or radio show hosts, you know, I consider these people family.
Yep.
You know,
I just think it would make us so much tighter as a unit.
I'm
It really would.
I'm closer with my Facebook friends like you guys than I am with cats that live right next door to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same here.
People that I've known all my life. I got friends on my Facebook page that I grew up with that I don't even talk to. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
Right.
they're asleep, they're dead. You know, and they don't want to wake up.
Exactly.
That's the hardest thing in the world is to wake up, man. Who wants to be told that all their lives that they've been lied to? You know the feeling, and the hardest part about it is you got to say to yourself, do I keep living the life that I was living, or do I accept this truth? That's a hard choice, because especially when you wake up and when you get saved, when you become a born again Christian, that is the hardest thing that you ever will do. Because when you read that Bible will tell you everything that you've been doing, you weren't supposed to be doing, and you were wrong, and you got to accept that. That's a hard truth to accept.
And that's something right there. I hear so many people that come at that, and they're, you know, oh, God this and God that. You know, God's trying to protect you from the evil that's out there. There's some serious entities out there that want to mess your day up.
Mm-hmm.
I've dealt with them.
Like this.
I've seen them.
I look at it like this. I have kids. I'm going to tell my kids, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Because I'm protecting them. God is telling us, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, and don't do this. Because he's protecting us.
Right.
He's not trying to control us. We have the free will to do it, and I can go out and curse and screw women and do whatever I want. If that's what I want to do. God gave me the will to do that. But I'm going to pay for I'm going to pay for everything that I do. All of us are. There are consequences for every action that you have.
Absolutely.
Well, that's what I was getting to
in
earlier.
one way or another.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to earlier. Briefly, real quick here with the whole television thing, the aspect of it. You know, television and entertainment industry is a big part of, you know, people raising their children, and they don't even understand. Even my own parents were playing part of that game because, like I said, when I was a youngster, you know, my parents would throw me in front of a television set while they were cooking dinner or whatever they were doing. But this is still happening right now. There's a lot of parents out there that let television raise their children, and like I said, they wonder why their children turn out the way they do. Whether it's
and then they yell at
Look outside your window. You see a music video. That's what you see. You see the pants down, the gold teeth, the cats talking when they got swag and smoking and drinking. That's what's in the music videos. That's what's on
every
TV.
one of them.
Every one
of them.
Look out your window. Look out your window. Especially
well,
I'm in the city.
mainstream music in general is another step in that, because television is one thing, but yeah, mainstream music, mainstream hip hop, mainstream pop music.
I'm saying media as a whole.
Yeah, exactly.
You want to know? You just look out your window. Especially if you live in the city. I don't live in the inner city. I'm in a part of the inner city. I'm in a town called Lindenwold, New Jersey. And Lindenwold used to be great when I was little. It was middle class. It was, you could leave the doors unlocked. But 10 minutes away from me is a city called Camden, New Jersey, and that's the most dangerous city in the country.
Yeah,
right
it's
now.
pretty wicked.
So I'm 10 minutes from that. So what's happening is them cats in Camden is coming down to Lindenwold. So we call Lindenwold, we call that Little Camden.
Yep.
That's what it is.
That's like going over into over into Philly and going down Fifth Street. They call it the Cross Bronx, because it's as bad. It's getting bad. And you know what? Right back to lollipops and hand grenades, man. We got James here talking about what's going on out in Oregon, and I really am. I didn't catch. We were talking about the mainstream. I call it the lame stream because it's freaking lame, and they always put their spin. They always put their spin on it, and I'm curious.
When they said that, and when I was saying again, I mean to cut you off, and I'm amped up right now.
Yeah, I can hear it. You go, man. Go.
When I watched it, they said, and something happened, and they just blew it off. They want to see this person, and something happened. And me being a person that's awake, I'm like, what's that supposed to mean? That's in your script, and something happened. You know what I'm saying? What is that supposed to mean? What kind of news is that? You can't tell me what happened.
That's their cliffhanger, because they want you to tune. You might have called it the morning show. They want you to tune back in at 5 and at 6 o'clock.
Man, that was a 6 o'clock joint. They just don't know what happened. They just tell you that something happened. That's their way of saying that. That's their way of saying that dude was up there with his hands up and they shot him, and they say something happened, so they can come up with a different story to tell us what it is.
Spin it.
So
they wanted to spin it.
Spin it the way they wanted to spin it. That's just what my man James was talking about. They spun the
That's
whole thing the way they wanted to spin it, and cats sat in their houses and believed everything they said. And then there's people on the internet talking about these people are terrorists up there and calling them all these names and terrorists this and terrorists that, and don't have a clue what a terrorist is, because the terrorists are sitting right there in Washington.
Right. Well, terrorists are the ones that own the network. They're the ones sitting up on Capitol Hill. And this is right back to Lollipops.
Washington, D.C. The terrorist is the homosexual black president that we got.
Right.
With his transgender wife.
Yeah, that's an important thing to bring up, because I want people to understand the term terrorist. We really have to define that, because it's being blurred. None of us are terrorists, but we're considered terrorists.
Yeah, but guys, if I could on that, look, it's an arbitrary term tossed around by some government official, quote unquote. There is no trial to determine whether you are one or not. They just label on you.
Well, this is what I want to say. Lollipops and hand grenades. We sit back, we turn on the evening news as parents, right? And our children are in the room. Now, this is my question. Our children are watching and they're hearing what's going on. How have they spun? Now, I heard a little bit, basically what Ninja was talking about. I heard that brief news coverage of what was going on out in Oregon. James, now you've been really behind this thing. Have you heard what have you heard come out of the mainstream media that basically could reflect on our children in the wrong way, like feeding them lies? And then please go into what you wrote.
I'm not going to go into what I wrote. I will go into, and I got stuff coming down from the ceiling. All right.
Yeah, I heard that.
Sorry
what
about
happened
that.
there?
Oh, I got some drywall issues in the ceiling at this point.
Sound like you smacked sound like you're playing pool and you're raising the pool stick up a little too high to hit a chandelier or something.
Look, by the way, I sent you and Eva PMs links to the snuff film. Actually, Gavin seems to have it as well at this point in time, and he's already posted on Facebook. So your TMs have those sitting in there for you.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, what have you seen in the mainstream media as the way they spin it, that our children are hearing this, and, you know, of course they're trying to make up our children's minds and, you know, place a false thought in their head?
Well, the framing. You know, the framing, even in this, in the rant that I wrote, and I'm sending you guys links to that too. Computers run a little bit slow, but I mentioned it, you know, in the link that I sent. If you look at most of the stuff that was going on with Oregon, and you look at the news, I mean, they were talking more about the guys being armed, militant, and everything else,
right,
than they were about what the guys were there for. Okay?
Exactly.
And it's the notion. And they're telling the kids that, you know, this is not a patriot, okay? Because they want children to believe that, you know, patriotism is blind following of your government. Of course, we know that's bullshit. We know it's following always supporting your people and your government only when it deserves it. We know this. But through that other framing, you know, they're suggesting that what these men are doing, or, well, the people, sorry, there was women there too. I don't want to leave them out. But they're suggesting that what these people are doing isn't patriotic. So our children are being taught through that, you know, you blindly support your government. It doesn't matter what they're doing, and that's the brainwashing in that.
And they're also making militia sound like a bad thing as well.
Exactly.
Yeah. They're definitely demonizing everybody in that situation. They're definitely demonizing the militia. They're demonizing the people that are on the land. They definitely are doing that.
So this
well,
is
I mean,
at
this point,
a lot more than just the Bundys and the Hammocks. I mean,
yeah, I'm just saying at this point, anybody that doesn't go along with the status quo or isn't watching the Kardashians show, you know, you're a problem to the establishment, you know, and that's a major problem to me. I really see something wrong with that. I don't know. I can't speak for everybody, but, you know, speaking up against what's going on should be a priority to everybody out there. I don't see what's the problem with that. You know, we all should be speaking up and using our voices, but when we do that, we're considered, you know, it's taboo to do that. You know, I don't, you know, that's crazy. I don't really agree with that. I think that's part of the problem. You know,
well, you know what?
And that's why we do radio shows. That's why we speak up and do what we can, because not everybody's doing that. You know, imagine if more people did what we are doing right now on this show.
You know what, Denny? When it comes to the coalition, whether it be Infinite Source Broadcast Network, where you're at right now, or Truth Emerges, or NWO Truth Radio coming back, whether it be anywhere in there, I can guarantee you listeners this: the programming stops here. You go ahead and turn on Fox News and CNN or MSNBC. You'll get programming all day long. They'll spin your head in 100 directions, and you'll never get the truth. But when it comes to our networks, we're here. We are straight up.
Hey, Renegade, they call it TV programming for a reason, you know?
Yeah, it's called programming for a reason. But that's part of it, Renegade, is that it got so bad that, you know, I decided to become a journalist myself and report on these issues, you know? That's how bad it got.
And that's what we see these people doing, whether it be from Ferguson or, you know, go back to the L.A. riots, you know, when they were with them, they were in there, and, you know, we have people, you know, stepping out besides the mainstream. I mean, we can go from then up until now. What James is doing right now, he's a journalist. He's an insider of what's really going on. And you're not going to get this on CNN. They're going to spin it.
Well, look, you know, I got to be honest about things like this, because if it wasn't for some really good people that I have contact with that are actually the ones that are on the inside, or, you know, one person removed, I wouldn't have half of what I have. So I got some really good people that I can depend on and that I can trust when it comes to getting the information that needs to be put out there.
But that's what it takes. It takes somebody willing to give out that information and to tell the truth. Somebody that's in the inside. to do that. That the person the insider that you have, it takes that person to speak up. But there's not enough of us speaking up. There's not enough Edward Snowdens and cats like that speaking up.
Right.
Speaking up. And it's never going to be enough of us. We will always be the minority because the way that this world is, people have been programmed since they've been babies, and they're going to stay programmed until they die. It's going to take helicopters and boots kicking in doors for people to say what's going on. And not by then it's going to be too late.
Yep. Right.
But
right,
you know
it's going to have
to
be on their doorstep for people to be like, wow, but then it's too late.
Was right. What Dennis Ford was talking about on the show was right. What Renegade said, he was right. What James was talking about, he was right. What Eva said on our show, she was right. They were right. It's too late, though.
Right. It's too late.
Did you guys happen to catch the recent episode of The X-Files? They put 2 out.
Yeah, I watched it. Yeah, I watched both of them.
Did you see?
I'll watch it because I want to see what they're talking about. Go ahead.
But did you see what they exposed? But you know what's funny?
Yeah.
I talked about this the other night.
How many people listen to that? How many people listen and say all that stuff and didn't have a clue what they were talking about?
Right. I brought this up real quick, Renegade. I brought this up on the show Tuesday night that I did. It's interesting that a show will cover certain topics because, X-Files is going to do some more shows and they're going to cover some more things. But the same people I've been talking to that are family members or whoever that's watching X-Files are going to come to me and be like, hey, did you watch X-Files last night? Did you see what they were talking about? But I've been talking about this stuff for the last 4 years, man.
I've been telling you that for years.
But here's the thing, guys.
You know what's funny? TV, so it's true now.
Yeah, it's true now.
I heard it from two different people. This is crazy. If you watch the trailer, or actually watch the first episode, what do they cover? They covered the police state. They covered the killing and silencing of any dissenters. They covered weather warfare, which would be HAARP or chemtrails. They covered the fake alien agenda.
Geoengineering.
Geoengineering.
Right.
They covered
that.
They covered eugenics. They covered transhumanism.
Yes, they did. And Fox Mulder covered the police state with them spying on us, saying that this is deadly. And it's funny, though, because 2 people, now I forget if it was Mike Conley's show right here on Monday night, The Open Door, or if it was on Eva's show when I had brought this up. But somebody said, the problem with it being on X-Files is there's going to be a lot of people out there that go, well, this is fiction. This is fiction.
It brings up like a science fiction realm, because people are going to joke about it.
Yeah,
James, you're the one who said that?
That was me, Renegade. I said I said, for those of us that have our eyes awake, we know what it is, but unfortunately, they are indoctrinating people again to try to make it seem like fantasy because they don't pay any attention to it.
Well, check this out.
What's funny? I had a second person tell me. Actually, my girl told me that today, and I had told her about what you said after she told me. She's like, "Yeah, they're showing it on X-Files, so that way people go, well, this is fake anyway, so it's conspiracy."
They're going to write it off as whatever. But here's an interesting thing to bring up about the whole X-Files episodes is that the guy that was writing the episodes for this particular season drew influence from Alex Jones and InfoWars. So that right there should let you know.
There it is.
And Alex Jones even did a video about this. He was even saying, I'm not going to brag about it, I'm not bragging or boasting, but the guy openly said he pulled influence from InfoWars and what Alex Jones does. So that right there should let you know what's going on.
How much of it? Go ahead, I'm sorry.
If you notice that they never solved one case either.
Right, yeah, exactly.
My thing is, how much of this is predictive programming? How much of this is it getting people ready for what's coming? You tell people, you show them what's going to happen, and then when it happens, I've seen it before. It was on the X-Files. And you just let it go.
It's all good. We're good. Fox News will take care of us. Fox will take care of us. Everything's all good. But we get Obama over there, and we might possibly have Cruz or Hillary.
Getting back to what Dennis was talking about, how they've been doing this to us since we were young, and even before that. This programming stuff has been happening for a long time. You could look at cartoons like G.I. Joe back in the day in the 80s. And they talked about New World Order on there, and they talked about how
I grew up on that. Don't knock G.I. Joe, damn it.
I used to watch it all the time. That was I come home from
Saturday
school
morning, man.
I would come home from school. I would come home from school, be Batman, then freaking G.I. Joe. I love it.
But the thing is, I watch G.I. Joe too. But now when I look at now being awake and I look at some of the cartoons that I watch, I'm like, oh. You know what I mean? Cobra just talked about having a one world currency.
Yep.
He said in one episode, he said the dollar isn't worth anything anymore. From now on, you're gonna have a one world currency, and he held it up. It was a Cobra currency.
Well, to be honest, Sean, at this point, at this point, I can't watch. I don't watch that much television or movies in general, but every time I do watch a movie or a television show or program and whatever, I'm picking it apart because you know once you reach that point where you're kind of aware of what's going on, you see things differently.
You're looking
for it. It's my point.
Right. We were talking about that earlier.
If I watch a movie with my kids, I'm like, they're telling you this, they're telling you this. See that symbol? That means this.
Yep.
See this? That's what I'm doing the whole movie.
My kids hate watching movies with me. They hate watching movies with me. So I'm like, did you just hear what they said? Do you see what's in the background? Look at that.
Hear that part?
Dad, will you shut up? I'll tell you what you do.
Then I'm like, when the movie's over, I'm gonna explain everything that movie was telling you. I'm gonna explain it.
This is what you got to watch when you're watching a movie. Always look into the background. When there's an important scene, look into the background.
Yep, on the walls. You'll see all kind of symbols and stuff. We got
numerology.
We have another caller.
DuckTales has the Illuminati one.
Go ahead, Eva, bring him on.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and bring him in. It's Michael.
All right.
Hello, Michael. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Michael Connolly.
Doing good.
I've been listening to you guys all night long, just rambling on and on, but it sounds good, really does. And then just nice meeting you, brother.
Michael Connolly, for the listeners out there, is the one of the newest additions here to the Coalition and also Infinite Source Broadcast Network. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Pacific. He runs the Open Door. This man is a bucket of knowledge right here. And he has the perfect radio voice. I'm going to start talking like you.
I do want to bring up a couple of things, especially about the predictive programming and indoctrination of children and so forth. I don't know that any of you are old enough to remember the early 50s, late 40s, but right after World War II, there was a massive influx of cartoons built by Walt Disney, Mickey Mouse, of course.
Yes.
The Nazi propaganda. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Mickey Mouse has been around since the 30s. But just prior to the war and just after and during the war, every cartoon that was made showed Mickey Mouse marching a parade down the streets, saying, "We're number one, America's number one," waving a flag, just promoting nationalism, which I disagree with completely. But it was a generation of children that are now my age. And so consequently, when you look at Facebook and you see the amount of people that are around my age, 68 to 70 to 75, you see a lot of people who are just not very tolerant of things like they're all for the FBI at the Oregon place and all of this kind of stuff. But predictive programming has been around for years and years and years. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, I just posted on Lollipops and Hand Grenades a link to a site that says why the government has to program your children. I would really, if you have the opportunity to read that, because it's pretty informative, and it's not that it's a good thing. The article is not a good article about the government, but it lets you know exactly what the government is doing and why they're doing it. And the whole thing is that they base all their propaganda on the fact that they know that the economy of the world is getting ready to collapse.
Yes.
And they're creating a generation or a couple of generations or even 3 generations of people who will accept that as being, oh, well, that's just the way it is. The fact of the matter is that is that is the most horrible propaganda you could ever have.
That's going to be rough on the kids these days because without electricity, they can't play Xbox or watch their stinking TV. They're going to have a hard time. I'm going to tell you something. Well, when Hurricane Sandy pulled up, and slammed the crap out of us, and Ninja, you were right there. You were closer to the storm front than I was. We were knocked out for 5 days.
Yeah. I didn't get any power outages when Sandy came. I'm close to it, but I'm like
see, you were unlucky then.
45. I'm 45 minutes away from where it hit. You know what I mean? So thank God that I didn't get any of that. But go ahead, what you were saying?
Oh, I was thanking God that I had a power outage for 5 days. It was awesome. You know what? You light up the candles at night. There's no TV on. It gives you quality family time. You all sit down. You can talk. And you got to rough it a little bit. You know what it does? It actually gives you more. It makes you thank God for what you got. It actually
makes you more
helps you
appreciative.
thank God for what you don't got. And I was thanking God for not having the TV or the computer for 5 days. And I'll tell you this, man, I loved it. It was awesome, lighting candles at night. It got a little cold. We eventually, I'm going to tell you something, guys, right now. Listen, you don't have to believe in God. I do. I've seen some wonders in my life, and that generator that I got off the whim, a brand-new generator for about $300 under price, was a godsend because I was getting worried. We're running out of hot water. It was starting to kind of get pretty cold here. And the house is hooked up. Our house is completely hooked up. All I got to do is plug it into the generator. Boom, the whole house gets lit up. Same with my grandparents who live next door. And we ended up going out. We got a generator, but it was like it was one that someone bought and brought back because there was a problem. Well, yeah, there was definitely a problem with it. So we took it back, and the problem when Sandy came is there's so many people wanted generators because everyone got knocked out of power, well, except for you, Ninja. So I'm like, Lord, can you? I'm getting worried here, God. Some way you can just bless us with a generator. So I was calling Lowe's and Home Depots from the Poconos in Pennsylvania all the way to Delaware. Everyone was sold out. And I got with the Home Depot we have right here where I live. I left them a message. I got on the list for a generator. I took ours back that morning. The shipment came in while I was there. They're like, we just got a shipment in now. You're one of the first people here. Do you want dibs? I got a bigger, badder, freaking generator. I got money back from the old one, and I still saved like $200. It was awesome. He provided. That thing ran 2 homes. I was a little upset because I wanted to go off grid. Talking about, lollipops and hand grenades with children. Back in the day, children, they could go without these electronics and watching TV. Nowadays, it's
back in the day, we didn't have it.
Right.
I ain't have no Xbox. I ain't have the earliest video game I had was I think it was Atari. But that didn't. I didn't get that. I didn't get that till I was like 14 years old or something. So I didn't have that.
My electronics when I was a kid was 2 tin cans and a 100-foot strand of copper wire.
Can you hear me now? You be Verizon, I'll be Sprint. Can you hear me now?
May I interrupt for a minute, guys? There is approximately 10 minutes left into the live broadcast. So if you want to continue listening to the program, please call this number 347-850-8229. Again, the number is 347-850-8229. And if you would like to chime in on the conversation, please press 1.
Then when you press 1, it's going to notify us that you would like to be brought in.
Call in and join the conversation. Mike, I wanted to get back to what Mike was saying about having thick hands in the string. You know, it's funny because back when I was young, I'm 45 years old. I'll be 46 in September. And so back when I was young, it was our entertainment was get outside. We got up in the morning. We had to get up early. My mom made us get up early. We cleaned the house until 11 o'clock, and then she kicked. I have 5 brothers and sisters. Kicked us all out the house. We all had to leave. And we didn't come back in that house until 10, 11 o'clock at night. We went around the corner to the basketball courts. We were there all day. All day until we heard my dad blow a whistle. We came home to eat dinner. Then we went back out the house again. So that you don't see that no more. You don't see kids playing outside. You don't see that stuff.
Yeah, kids today will never make it. I mean, there'll be very few, if any, should there be a total economic collapse. We're going to see just multitudes of people die because they don't know how to take care of themselves.
Exactly.
Yep.
And we can thank government programming for that.
That's part of the
programming
plan.
on television. I mean, I could tell you the last movie that they allowed, before they outlawed it, Subliminal Suggestion, was in the movie Lawrence of Arabia. I don't know if any of you guys ever saw that movie. But I went to see that movie, and I was sitting there because there was lots of desert scenes. And I just kept seeing person after person after person going back, I thought, to get water. And then I thought, well, I'm kind of thirsty, so I went back. But instead of going to get water, I went to the concession stand and bought sodas.
Yeah, and popcorn.
Stuff like that, because every 10th frame in that movie had a picture in the upper right-hand corner, a very small picture that just where your subconscious would pick it up, but your conscious wouldn't be aware of it. And it'd be a picture of a Coca-Cola, it'd be a picture of a bag of popcorn, it'd be a picture of a candy bar, and that kind of stuff. And that's how they generated money in those days. And the federal government finally outlawed it, or somebody did. I don't know if it was the federal government. But I'm not convinced they still don't use that stuff.
I'm not convinced. I mean, just because somebody outlawed it don't mean they don't do it. You know what I mean? Right. That's like me telling my kid, don't do that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That doesn't mean they're not going to do it. I just told them not to do it.
It's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that because when I was in the military, when we get a pass to go into town or something, there'd always be a list on the bulletin board of places where we were not allowed to go. So we thought that's where we're going to have fun. So we all went to those places. It's just like,
you go to where you ain't supposed to go.
That's it.
Hey guys, let me before live feed wraps up here, I want to ask you guys. Dennis, everyone here online, Ninja, Michael, Eva, James. We'll start with you, Ninja. Just give a quick rundown because we have about. Let me check. We have 5 minutes left till the end of the live feed. Within 10 seconds, give me avenues that you see them coming against our children.
Did I see what?
Go. Give us some avenues. Give us some avenues, or how they're coming at the video games, movies. Like where do you see them coming against our children? Where do we need to stand guard?
Everywhere, man.
Well, true.
Society, everywhere. Man, I'm trying to come up everybody. They're coming from every angle.
Yes, they are. Danny, how about you?
Yeah, I agree with Ninja Scroll. Everywhere. I mean, food, television, music, etc. I mean,
music.
That's a whole nother show in itself. But yeah, I mean, we need to understand these things and stand up against them. Me myself personally, I don't have any children, but that's part of the reason I don't have any children is because I can't really explain any of these things to my child that's not here in this world because things are out of control. I'll just say this. Again, my parents, growing up, they threw me in front of a television set. I don't blame them for that. I'm not mad at them for that. But I've lived it. You know, I've seen it myself.
You lived and you learned.
Yeah, I've seen it. So yeah, there multiple different scenarios and things that they're attacking our children with. And like I said earlier, they know the children are the future as much as we know the children are the future, and that's why they're attacking the children the way they are. Even when I was growing up.
So to change the outcome to go conform to their wills and their ways that they want this world to be in.
Well, that's what I'm saying, Renegade. They don't necessarily need to attack us. You know, the grown people that are 20, 30, whatever your age is. If you're about 20 years old, they're not really concerned with you. They want to hit the younger generation that are growing up that are still in school and shit.
They can mold the young people's minds. Some older cats are set in their ways. You ain't changing us. But
yeah, exactly.
The young people, you can mold their minds.
Yeah, that's my point. That's my point.
Hey, Michael, how about you?
Well,
you're a little bit more advanced in life, a little bit more wiser. What do you see going on now where they're hitting our children?
The most important thing, in my opinion, is we have to become morally straight in this country. That's the most important thing. Secondly, parents need to be better parents. And also,
they need to be there.
Also, family meals need to come back.
Thank you.
Growing up, the whole family sat at the table. The whole family had their turn to say something. We got to talk about things, all kinds of stuff. But you don't see that anymore. So I think family values are a lost skill these days.
Yep.
You know what, brother?
That's all done by design. It's all done by design to bring up the family.
You know what, though, guys? In my home, I have a roll at my table. We all every night try to have a family meal. There ain't no cell phones at the table. You better take that and get rid of it. If you don't, I'm gonna smash it off the wall. It's that simple.
You know, the one thing that gets me mad is back in the day, my mom and pop used to have us all sit down, and whatever my mom cooked, that's what you ate. I don't care if you liked it or not.
Yep.
Nowadays it ain't like that. You know what I mean? You sit your kids down around the table and you got 5 different meals because this person don't like that meal and that person don't like that. That's the only thing I can't stand about having it. But I agree that we need to have more family meals, and the family values. The whole thing is been done by design. You can look up Alice Bailey 10-point plan, and that's one of the things she was talking about. Destroy the Christian family structure. You got to get rid of that. You can't have the family
Helena
structure.
Blavatsky.
All got to be. You got to have it differently. It's got to be changed up. And you can't have the dad as the house. You can't have the father as the head of the household anymore. That's why all the men lost jobs over the past 10 years. You got men losing jobs all over the place. When I worked at a place called Telepoint. We used to call up people and try to sell high-speed internet and all that stuff for Verizon. I think it was for Verizon, yeah. Trying to sell high-speed internet. And every phone I called, and this is middle in the afternoon, 10, 11, 12, 1 in the afternoon, I'm calling up houses, and it's men answering the phone. Men supposed to be at work, but they ain't at work. They're at home, and the wives is at work.
Second and third shifts nowadays, though. Business is open 24 hours a day. Maybe they were at home, or maybe they were just on a different shift.
Hey, James, real quick. We got 2 minutes. We got 2 minutes. Real quick. We'll go into overtime with this. James, real quick. Give us one thing, real quick, that you see where society's failed our children, or the home has failed our children. Where we have to stand guard.
CPS.
Yeah, Child Protection Services. Beautiful. Eva, how about you?
Yeah, it started in the womb, and it will just progress and keep getting worse. Number one, get your kids out of public schools, people. If you're able to, home teach them.
There you go. Hey, we have 1 minute here. We're gonna go a little bit of overtime here. You guys are making some great points. I hope everybody's cool with overtime. Hey, you are listening to The New Element right here on Infinite Source Broadcast Network. Me, Renegade Smith, and Ninja Scroll, hosting this show. And we thank you all. You can find us, just Google us. But we're going to continue this on. I just wanted to get that out there. I thank you to all the callers. Thank you to everyone that's listening right now. And we are a staple right here Thursday nights. And all throughout the week, right here on Infamous Source Broadcast Network, you'll find great shows. The Open Door, Our Reality, Open Mind podcast, Genesis Awakening, The Arsenal Sound, and, of course, The New Element. So with that being said, let's roll. We got this. Nigel, what were you going to say?
Yeah, I just want to respond to what Mike was saying about a lot of the men working the second and third shift. That's true. But what I was going to say was, as I was talking to these men, I was trying to sell them this high-speed internet stuff. I do my whole spew. When I got to the, buying it, they would say, well, I can't make that decision because the wife is the one that brings home the money. They couldn't make decisions. The wife was the one that was out working. That's what I was getting at. When I was talking to these men, I could understand if you were, first of all, if I'm working in third shift, I'm not answering the phone. I'm sleeping.
Right.
I got to get up. You know what I mean? These guys are always answering the phone wide awake. You know what I mean? Like, hey, I'm just home.
Yeah.
Second of all, when they would say that the wives were the ones, they couldn't make that decision because the wives were bringing home the money. They were the breadwinners. So that was my point about that.
Well, you know what? I want to touch on that real quick. Things happen, and like the pecking order happens for a reason. Men are a little bit more calloused, and we have this mentality where we have got to go out and do our best to provide for the family. So, you know what? We take our hits. I get it. I take my hits. I didn't get all the family time that my wife got. You know why? Because God blessed me with an amazing job with great benefits. And I was able to leave my wife, not have to stay home, not have to work and raise our children. And they are coming against that. They have destroyed our economy to the point where now you actually almost need two people working. Yep. And that's what they want. Because they want you to take your children.
Yep.
They want you to take your children and put them in the care of somebody else, in like a daycare.
Well, put them in
When I grew up, that was already happening.
Here, hold on, guys, one at a time.
The women's movement was a great destruction of the family unit.
Well, this is let me quick finish my thought here.
I'm sorry?
Let me quick finish my thought when you talk about the women's movement. There's a difference between men and women. Let's face the facts here, everybody. We're not equal at all in any way, shape, or form. Women are what our children need. They are more nurturing. They're motherly. And just at the same time, our children need the men as well. We're a little bit more stern. We have our fatherly ways as well. We both work in unison together to raise that family. Okay? When you're having the man stay home and the woman has to work, it kind of screws things up. It's not that I'm taking any power away from the woman, but I would rather have my wife nurture my children in her way, in her loving way that she can. I'm a man. I'm a little bit more quick-tempered. I'm not as compassionate as my wife. When you have a boo-boo, well, maybe your child needs a Band-Aid and some kisses on the boo-boo, and then me, I'm like, just rub dirt on it, suck it up, toss it up a little bit, Do you hear what I'm saying? They need both. And that's why, the string pullers have completely screwed up our system to where now the women have to work. And the thing about that is, the way that they are, they want to stay home with the children. It's calling them all day long. I know when my wife is at work, she's always texting our kids. How are you? I love you. Writing little love you notes on their napkins when we make their lunches so they can go to school. That's the mother, the nurturing, the upbringer. And the man, he's at work taking his bumps and bruises and cuts and sweat and tears and all that and doing what he's got to do. That's how it kind of works. But when you flip-flop it or just, neither or are employed, it's just getting into the household and it's just creating turmoil in the family unit. And that's what they want. They want to flip it upside down and they want it to destroy the family unit in every way, shape, possibility that they can.
Go
I'm
ahead.
the only woman here. How about men crying?
I cry.
I
cry.
On that?
I cry.
Well,
I cry.
I cry.
I was infuriated to tears given this loss of Lavoie.
Yeah, James, I heard you breaking up the other night. I heard you and Bruce really getting choking up. And you know what? As a man to man, I can appreciate that. And I'll tell you what, I was talking about the movie Rocket Boy. When I watched that one scene happen, I teared up. And I wasn't like sobbing like a baby, but I teared up and I had tears. But I'll tell you this, when something hits my heart, there's been a couple of times I've sobbed like a baby and cried because I'm a man. And men cry.
Crying is not feminine. Crying is not feminine. It's a emotion.
Yep, human nature.
It has nothing to do with being effeminate, nothing like that. It's an emotion. It takes a real man will cry.
You know what? And I'll tell you what, Ninja, just like you, just like every man on this line right now, we are all hardcore. We are hardcore to the bone. But I'll tell you this: if we didn't cry, we wouldn't be men.
Wouldn't be human.
We would be heartless.
Wouldn't be human.
That's
we
right.
Wouldn't.
That's it's just an emotion. It has nothing to do with being effeminate.
Nope.
I remember one night recently. Oh man, I'm actually writing a song about him. It's called "Teardrops in the Sun." I had a very close friend and a man that I considered a brother. I met him personally, David Fry. He died 2 years ago in September.
Yep.
Amazing man, straightforward Christian. His values, his morals and values, the things he posted on Facebook, everything about him was beautiful. And he died in his 30s. It was out of nowhere. And I remember it took me about 3 days for it to really sink in. And one night I was outside and I just started crying. And I stopped for a little bit and I walked upstairs and man, I started kind of hurt right now. I walked upstairs and my wife was asleep, and I was trying to get my things ready for work, and I started breaking down. I fell on my knees. And I hurt, and I was sobbing like a baby. My wife gets up. She's like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?" I told her, I said, "My heart hurts. I can't take this." And I felt pain before in the past, with family and stuff like that. But man, yeah, I cry. I'm a man. I'll tell you what, I'll whoop your ass. But I do cry.
I'll whoop your ass cry too, damn it.
If you didn't,
will you cry while you're whooping their butt? I'm crying while I'm whooping your butt, man. I'm crying because I'm whooping you so bad.
I'll tell you, man. When you know what it is, when you genuinely have love in your heart, when you genuinely have love in your heart, when things come at you, it hurts. It hurts your heart, and that love kind of gets splintered, and that's what breaks you down. And anyone out there listening, you think you're big and you're bad, and you ain't crying or you ain't getting a little upset, shedding a tear.
They cry too, man. Them cats cry. All these tough boys out this way, man, they cry, man. I ain't buying none of that stuff, man. Them cats cry.
It ain't about being a tough guy. You can be tough all you want, but I'll tell you what.
Man. It's a bunch of phonies, you know what I mean? I don't cry. Yeah, right. You cry, man. Get out of here.
Well, I'll tell you what tough is. You know what tough is? Tough is letting love into your heart. And when something can break you down, you shed a tear, that's called being a man. That's called being human. It's
right.
a natural reaction.
That's being human. That's an emotion, man. I don't buy into that stuff. Yeah, we men cry. If you say you don't cry, you a liar.
Right?
That's like other things we say we don't do. Well, we know damn well we do.
Yeah, we know we do. Yeah, man, come on, man. Just be real.
Well, I can tell you this. When I've seen some crazy videos of this one Green Bay Packers fan, they were driving home from the game, and this girl's crying. They were supposed to win. I wear a block of cheese on my head, and they didn't win. Boo-hoo. That's fake crap, bull crap tears. You kidding me? A football team losing and you're going to cry over that? Man, talk about conditioning.
It's the same man that said, I'm a tough guy, I don't cry, was crying when the Packers lost. It's the same dude that cried when the Eagles lost. Redskins lost. It's the same they be crying. They be crying, move around the house, be all upset,
how you going to cry? How you going to cry over that? You had no part of it. You were watching it. You had no part of it.
So my friends be like, you watching the football game? Yeah, your team. Or they say your team lost yesterday. I say, ain't my team. I don't play them. They don't pay me no money. When they start paying me some money, I'll start crying for them.
I was just gonna say that. I was gonna say I ain't the one making millions here. I ain't the one making more millions if I want.
Yeah, they ain't doing nothing for me. When my lights go out because I ain't paying my bill, then my football team come in and save my butt. No, my lights was out. I couldn't watch them.
I didn't make no money off that jersey. You kidding me?
No, I ain't making no money.
Crying.
No, I couldn't watch my squad because my lights was out. So, and they didn't come help me. If they came and paid my bill, I could have watched them.
Do you see how butt backwards it is, though? People like these tough guys crying over a football team, but yet when like something tragic happens, like that sincerely they're supposed to be upset about, it's like they're numb. Like there's no.
Everything that's happening in this world, man, they don't want it. If it don't affect them, they don't care. But the football team don't affect them, and they care.
Yep, exactly. What's relevant in their life is just forgotten about.
Right is wrong, wrong is right, up is down.
Yep.
Same thing.
Woe unto them. Isaiah 5:20.
Woe unto them. Who just said
Isaiah
that?
5:20.
There you go.
Woe unto them that put evil for good and good for evil, that put darkness for light and light for darkness, that put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. Woe unto them.
Yep. Absolutely. You know, and then I actually we posted in More Than Conquerors. We got to get this thing off the ground here, brother. I asked you if you wanted. You actually wrote a song about that already, and I said, "You ready to write another one?" You're like, yep. Because the world's always changing for the worse. So, hey, Michael, you still with us?
Oh, yeah, I'm just listening to you guys. Sounds
James,
good.
you still with us? James, you were mentioning something. You were mentioning something about reading something that was recently written. Would you like to do that? I want to hear it.
This was the PPN call to action earlier tonight, right after, I think it was right around the time that Brandon Curtis ended up coming up with this video that I sent you guys.
Now, what is the PTN you said?
PPN, Patriot Something Network. It's the Idaho, basically the Idaho 3%ers. And they put this notice out right after the video came out. The events of the last few days in Burns have culminated into a lot of massive frustration and anger. The deceit and lies being told by government officials at all levels here is truly something to turn stomachs. The lies that came from the FBI at the press conference yesterday were infuriating to say the least. The death of LaVoy Finnegan was not needed. The arrest in a remote canyon was not needed. That could have happened anywhere, anytime peacefully. The lies and mistrust used to arrest Jason Patrick last night were dirty and caused any trust left in the tank with the FBI to be lost. The people are the rightful rulers of this land. If you don't believe that it's true, well, then we won't have much in common. Like my friend last night said, civil disobedience is necessary to change our path. If MLK and Ms. Parks did not stand up for their beliefs, civil rights would not be as they are today. If we hope to change this overbearing and overarching government, we have to stand up and take its power away at all levels. Yeah. I have called for people from all over to converge in Burns for this very reason. I'm calling for strangers to come together and stand up peacefully and tell the FBI to leave this state immediately. We will escort them out of Oregon, again, peacefully. Then our attention will turn to the local government. We will demand the immediate resignation of Steve Grasky, Dave Ward, Dan Nichols, and Pete Reynolds. We will reach out to the state police to fill the void and ask the county to put a special election in place to immediately replace these officials. In order to accomplish this, I need Americans to unite, all Americans, including the local people here. We need not hundreds, but thousands to come here. I'm asking for any and all to come. This has never been a Harney County issue alone. This has been an American issue for decades. To the people of Harney County, I'm sorry this will happen in your community, but if not now, then when? The time is upon us to do our duty to protect our liberty and freedoms. There comes a time in all of our lives when we have to stand up and face the bully. The bully is here. It's big and strong, but together we will win and show the rest of our citizens that it can be done. Yes, it's scary. And yes, it will probably be distracting and uncomfortable. It has to be done. Nothing with happening comes easy. Nothing. Right now, we have an opportunity to make history right here in Harney County, Oregon. We have the ability to put our collective foot down and start to restore order in this country. I promise you will not be alone. Others will follow suit. PPN will issue an order detailing the needs of everyone coming. You will need to be self-sufficient and prepare to camp in the cold. That's what the PPN released. We're having a protest for Lavoie's murder at the FBI office in Denver on Saturday, and to demand feds leave Oregon. Damn, what a shame. Lavoie was a good man.
You know what? What does this? What precedent does this set? You know, by them being able to come in and take somebody's land. What precedent? And there's already laws in place for this. So we have to think about it. Like he was saying about all of them. This isn't just about them. This is about everybody's constitutional right. Everybody's rights, period. God-given rights to have your own land.
Yep.
That the government does not own.
Exactly.
So this is what precedent does this set when they go in and they can take somebody's land? What precedent does it set? Can you grow your own food in your garden? When will they come in and take that?
Oh, Monsanto's trying to do that.
When will they say you can't have rainwater? That's what I'm saying. They're doing this. This is happening. This is happening to people all over. It's going to be happening to you. That's why those people are standing up for this. They're saying, don't let them be able to come in and take your stuff. We're going to stand here and fight for our rights. We want you to come and join with us. But people are so asleep that they just think that's just happening to them. No, it's going to happen to you. They can already take your house when they want to. You don't own your house. You don't own the land that's on your house. They can take that from you.
We gave them the land. We let them take the land over. And that's the thing. We rent. When you think you're actually buying your home, you got your mortgage, and we're going to pay off a mortgage, we're going to own our home. No, you don't. You might have paid off that piece of wood, but you don't own that land. We let that slip away under the bar. British Accredited Registry.
You let your taxes. You don't pay your property taxes. See what happens.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly right. But
the quickness.
The thing of it is, the federal government in the Constitution, especially the Northwest ordinances that were written in 1778 or 78 or somewhere around there, specifically line that out. I mean, it tells you exactly in the Constitution that the federal government cannot own land.
Cannot own land. The only land they are allowed to own is in D.C. in that 10-mile radius.
That's exactly right. And what they have to do, all these military bases that we have all over the United States, what they're required by law to do is petition the state and ask for permission.
Yeah,
because
and that's
all land that's not owned in this country by the original Constitution is put in trust to the people.
Yep.
The federal government decided they're going to manage it, so in 1947 or 46, they put in, they installed the BLM. Now, I'm going to post this link pretty soon. I don't know whether it's true or not. I don't really trust a lot of these websites like Breitbart and all these other things. But I know there was an issue that took place on the Texas-Oklahoma border. There was a guy up there that owned like 90,000 acres. And 2 years ago, he was battling the BLM because they were going to take his land. In fact, he'd been battling them for 30 years. Well, according to Breitbart today, the BLM got tired and gave him his land back. And it effectively stopped eminent domain in the state of Texas from the federal government.
Do you know, Mike, I actually I commented before about these government agencies. They're created by basically the, quote, shareholders or any special interest groups like Big Pharma. Big Pharma created the CDC and the FDA. Why? So that they could fool the people, because it's a government agency. So as soon as you hear the word government or federal, like people automatically like let their guard down and, oh, it must be okay if the, right. Hey, the FDA said that this drug's good, even though it causes suicidal thoughts and tendencies and destroys your liver and, makes you poop your pants at whim. It makes your legs fall off and you got to go get peg legs. But it's okay because the FDA said it's all right. See, these corporations owned by these oligarchs, they create these agencies like the BLM. So anybody who might have any mineral or water interests, if you have like an aquifer under your property or a rare mineral that they want to mine, well, guess what? They're going to come at you at the BLM to try to steal your land away. These agencies are all corrupt, and they are all there for agenda, not for your own good. They're there for these special interest groups, for their good, not yours.
Yeah, the EPA is another one that I don't know if you mentioned them, but they can come into your land and say that you can't live here anymore because this is now zoned as a safety zone or whatever. I don't know what they call it, but like they can say that it's for only wildlife can live here, so you can't build your house here because this is regulated for just the wildlife. Yeah, that's happened too. There's been people that bought land and tried to build on it and were told, well, you can't build on it because this is regulated for wildlife, so you lost your money.
Agenda 21.
Take it from them.
And the first thing,
sustainable, that's what it is.
The first thing that people need to do when that's happening, and here's some advice, you see that happening, and it's your land or it's some land that's, in your community, first thing you want to do, go over to the USGS.gov website and do a search to see if there is a geological survey available for that particular piece of property. And find it and read it, and you'll know.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know you could do that.
Yeah, because they have to. Normally, what I'm finding, like with the stuff with the Hammonds and even Bundy, years ago now, a couple years back, both of those places, the land involved, they ended up doing, BLM did USGS surveys on those tracts of land. And that's how they knew stuff was there.
Wow. So they had this all planned already.
In Hammond's case, they knew back in 1984. They've been playing games with the ranchers up there in order to get them off of that land through the little permit grazing, permit games and, you can't run your cattle through this land anymore like you were, okay? Yeah. They knew since 1984 Hammonds are the last holdout when it comes to the stuff up in Burns for the refuge.
And that just comes back to the point we were talking about, like, what precedent does this set? By the way that they're setting it up, making these guys look like they're terrorists, and the term anti-government came up many times on the news, anti-government. So by setting them up to look like that, it makes people think that they're fighting against the government and they're the bad guys. The precedent they don't even realize that they're setting is that the government can come in and take whatever they want, anytime they want. Your house, your property.
This is the thing, though. You mentioned about them being anti-government or a terrorist as they wanted to make the Hammonds or the Bundys out to be. Do you remember a couple of years ago when the LAX bombing happened or when the shooting happened in the airport?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Yeah.
That they actually said, and this blew my mind. I could not believe that I was hearing what I was hearing. We have a radio station here. Well, it's part of Channel 3, of course, or CBS Broadcasting. It's called KYW. And Ninja, I know you hear it. You can hear them over in Jersey. You tune in for all your school closings and all. But they were talking about the LAX shooting, and they did a whole section on conspiracy theorists and how this guy, this is what they said, how the shooter, they found in his backpack a note and all this all this stuff, or what they said, propaganda on the New World Order and how they're out to get us and they want a one world government, and they went through the whole spiel of people like us who see what's going on. So what they did, and we called this for a long time, we said they're going to use one of these false flag attacks or, what you can call a PSYOP, a psychological operation. They're going to use it against us, and they're going to blame one of these people for being like a conspiracy theorist. And that's what they did with this guy from LAX. And I'm sitting there going, oh, my gosh. And then I started hearing this stuff going on in Oregon, and they're talking about militias and how these people are terrorists. And we arrested them on terrorism and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, my gosh, here we go again. They are continuing to brainwash the sheeple. See, if they can keep their numbers up, they're okay. But once the world wakes up, guess what? They better run and hide real quick, and they knew that. Why do you think they have their deep underground military bases? So they can go and hide. They know they're going to be found out because more and more people are waking up. Their internet backfired. Their internet to gather info on people backfired because now we're using it to exchange information, to show information in real time.
Can I cut in here a minute?
Absolutely, James.
Look, I got to run. I got contact with some information that they're not sure what to do with, and I got to make another call. So thanks for having me on. I need to bail. I got to investigate the source, see what it's about.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I'll get word to you guys what it is about once I figure it out. But
awesome.
They got information on something relating to inside and possible infiltration of things, and they're not sure who to go to. So
well, probably Pete Sanchilli.
He's in jail at this point, as far as I know. Well, here's another thing. One more thing before I go on the Oregon stuff for people to consider. All right, I actually pulled the DOJ legal charges. Okay. If you guys, if the video isn't enough, and people out there listening at this point in time, you're still kind of skeptical of, well, no, they didn't shoot him first. Look, typically in a firefight situation, if you start firing or return fire, one of the typical standard charges involved with a situation like that is attempted murder.
Right.
Guess what charge isn't on the filing?
There ain't no attempted murder.
Not on there. They're not on there. There is one. And if you give me a second, I'll pull it over quick and I'll read it off to you exactly what it is. There is one. All right, come on, computer. Damn it.
Yeah. Is it Microsoft? Throw it against the wall.
Microsoft. Yeah, and I'm getting the old wheel going backwards. There it goes. Give me a second, guys. Sorry to delay. Then I got to run after this. Basically, like I said, it's one charge. Come on already. No, I got like 20 bazillion tags open, and my damn notices are going off like no tomorrow, okay? So,
yeah, slowing you down. That's definitely slowing you down.
So
you what you want to do? Go in tomorrow when you're not doing anything and delete your internet history.
Yeah, well, here it is. United States of America versus Ammon Bundy, John Ritzheimer, Joseph O'Shaughnessy, Ryan Payne, Ryan Bundy, Brian Cavalier, Shauna Cox, Peterson Tilley. The offense description is
Tilly.
18 U.S.C. 372, conspiracy to impede officers of the United States from discharging their official duties through the use of force, intimidation, or threats. That's it. That's the only one on there. There is no attempted murder on it at all. And I posted the link to that on my wall. While I'm on this call, I'll get to you guys in PM, Renegade and Eva, and I'll drop you guys the link so you can, see what I'm talking about. It's 32 pages long. I've gone through it.
32 pages long.
Yeah, it's 32 pages long, the evidence. But one more thing on that, too. See, you're saying about anti-government. And I posted around on my wall about that when I saw it because I read it. It's on page 23. There's a damn, thing that I just told you guys about, the filing. And it says about anti-government. It's like, and these educated, supposed, I don't know what, brain-dead, whatevers, right away, if it's something that's against government in any way, it could be just anti-tyranny. Well, does that mean you're anti-government? I mean, the people that are against these things, they're against it for specific reasons. They're against the law enforcement or FBI because of excessive force. That does not mean anti-government. And this is the crap that they pull. They twist it. So, anyways, thank you guys. I got to make this call. Take care of all. Michael, Eva, Renegade. Sorry, don't remember the other names.
Ninja Scroll.
Thanks for having me on, James.
Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time, James.
Yep. Thanks for all the info, man. We appreciate it.
God bless, James. Wow.
That was nice. That was real good stuff. That was some really good stuff. Now, everybody, I don't know who's listening. I hope y'all listening to this in the archives, but that is coming from somebody that's in the inside. So, he's telling y'all what the real deal is. Not what the flim-flam is. None of that garbage that the mainstream media is telling. He's telling you the truth.
You know what, Ninja? Also that right there. Eva, you were part of your show the other night when the emails came through to him and Bruce, and you could hear tears in their voice. They were choking up on air when we heard about the murder. It wasn't a shooting. Don't deny and don't confuse and lie to yourselves when they say, "Oh, we had a murder, or a shooting, or a killer, a gunman."
I posted the video of the actual shooting in the event page.
Yeah, you could hear tears come to their voice. It was a murder.
Oh, there's no doubt that it was a murder because I just got through watching one just a minute ago. He was shot from behind by one of the officers. It was a very good, clear video. They had a helicopter up above filming it, and it showed him crashing into the bank, showed him jumping out. He was kind of wobbling and weaving a little bit because the snow was so damn deep, and he was raising his hands, and one of the FBI agents shot him in the back.
Wow.
And you see it plain as day. But they claim that he was reaching for his right pocket, and they found a 9mm handgun in his pocket.
Oh, that's always what they say. Oh, he was reaching to his back or in his pocket. Yeah, okay, well, the video will reveal it all. Just like Waco, Texas, where they show the infrared, and you could actually see FBI agents shooting at the women and children trying to flee the compound that they set on fire. They were shooting at them to get them to go back in. Waco. I mean, give me a freaking break. The whole thing reminds me of a revised Waco. They had to clean it up a little bit. Oh, let's bring in the BLM. Put them to blame. We'll just put the government agents, the FBI, on the outskirts. You dumbass, idiot, freaking agents. You people need to wake up and lay down your weapons, maybe get a better job. All you're doing is enforcing the wills of people who want to take your rights away.
Yep.
You're one of us.
Yep, that's it.
Well, if
How can you be so controlled and brainwashed?
Stop for a traffic infraction. I wasn't aware that the FBI handles that.
Well, that goes to show you the depth of this. The depth goes beyond what they're reporting on. I mean, what were they talking about the other night with the Clinton family and the mineral rights or something underneath that property that they want? Or water rights or something. There's something going on there.
Was that Whitewater?
Oh,
Well, there's something that the Hammonds are sitting on with the Clintons are involved.
Oh, they're sitting on uranium, precious minerals, all kinds of stuff. And the BLM wants that land because in the Constitution it does say that as, but this is the corporate version of the Constitution. It says that the federal government reserves the right to all mineral rights on land managed by the federal government.
Well, that's not a federal government land. That's the people.
Right, but the federal government doesn't care. You know, that's what they're going to say. They don't care.
Right.
Well, back to the special interest groups. You know, hey, you take over that land, we'll give you $30 million in your bank account. Just take it under control. Do what you got to do. You know, who cares what the people think? You know, we'll use our media to spin it in this direction. You're safe. You go ahead and do what you got to do. Well, you just murdered somebody. So guess what? In the eyes of God, ain't no media. You have no safety in the eyes of God. You just murder somebody in cold blood. Guess what, agent? You can deal with that in the presence of God on your day of judgment.
That's right.
You know what? Jesus came here and preached about love. Love. And you know what? And even to you atheists out there, I got something to say. Treat others as you want to be treated.
That's in the good book. That's all I can tell you.
Yep.
Do unto others as you would have them do unto you.
That's right.
Exactly.
Well, with that, guys, it's time for me, this old man, to hit the rack. I got a long day tomorrow. And Ninja, I'm so glad I got to meet you and chat with you a little bit. Be looking forward to this show every week, and like AJ said, every Monday night, 9 to 11 Eastern Time, 6 to 8 Pacific Time.
The open door.
Open door. And we'll always have something interesting to talk about. It may not be what's currently happening, but it'll be good. It'll be good. And you guys have a good night. And AJ, this was a good show, dude.
Thank you, brother.
This network.
Hey, before you go, Mike, I just want to say thanks for coming on, and I appreciate you coming on, and I'm glad I got to meet you too, man. And I'm going to be calling in your show soon, so
all right, that'll work.
With you. I'm sure we'll have some fun.
All right, we'll talk to y'all later. Have a good evening.
You too, Mike. God bless, man. Stay strong, brother. Stay strong.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I've been praying that we get the right people involved in ISBN, and we have been. You know, Eva. You know, you're one of the first ones to come on. You run a strong show, and you are very you hold your morals and values up, and then you know kind of you thought I stole Michael away, but you guys both bag off of each other's show, which is funny. and I'm sitting here, I'm like, you know, Ninja, you mentioned earlier about, you know, when you're doing radio, you got to take some time off sometimes.
Yeah.
And you kind of get your wits back to you, and you know, maybe listen, you know, to God calling you to where you got to go. And I'm sitting there going, I want to start doing my show again. I'm like, I need a good co-host. I'm like, man, I got one. I got someone that's like next door to me. He's a fellow, you know, artist, and I've done shows with him. He's done shows. I'm like, I got to get a hold of Ninja.
And all praises to the Lord.
Amen. Hey, that God, everything happens for a reason, man. And me not being on radio, and then you coming to me and asking me to be on this network with you and do this show, I just, like I said, I thought about it, prayed about it, and there's a reason that we're all doing this. And we know what that reason is. And that's why I say, you know what, I need to do this. Because if I can reach one person and we can reach people together on this network, all of us, that's our goal, is to try to win souls for Jesus Christ. To help people get saved. Wake people up at the same time. Wake them up at the same time. But that's why this is great, man. I'm very happy. I'm thankful that you guys got me on here. And I'm blessed, man. I thank you.
One of the coolest things. Go ahead, Eva.
Can I also add, we are planning a meet and greet. Thus far, we're trying to find a location. It will be the weekend of the 18th, 19th, and 20th of March. So
that sounds doable.
So I'll send the link to both of you, and like I said, it's in the works right now.
That sounds like a good plan. I would love to do that. I would love to meet everybody.
Yeah,
hopefully, I get to see my man AJ at the car show on Sunday.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get you out there, man. I reached out to Tammy Lynn, and she said she's game. So because she over there with you over there in Philly. So hopefully we can all, meet up at the car show and show for a minute.
I don't know if you want to get me around automobiles, because if I see one that looks a little hyped up, I might jump in it, start it up, and try to get out of that place with it, just so I can hit I-95 and go full throttle. Don't get in my way when I'm trying to go full throttle, because I'm getting buck wild. I ain't having some cop get behind me, because I'll just do like we did in the past when we were on our street bikes. We just wave to them, see you later. You ain't going to interrupt my right to travel freely and uninterrupted. Bye-bye. Catch me if you can. Look at this Corvette. Man, this thing is beautiful. It's got the keys in it. Ninja, good talk to him. Let me start this thing up.
Crazy. Eva, where you from?
California.
Oh, you in Cali?
Yes.
Yeah,
man, you way over there.
Corruption.
Yeah, you.
Californication.
I had when I did a show, I used to do a show on my old network. I don't remember what it was called, but me and I don't know if you guys heard of Porvy Jenny. She was one of my co-hosts, and then she ended up having her own show called Eye of the Storm. She's on her own network now. Martyrs Ministry.
Right on.
She's on that. You heard of that show?
No, but I think that's very cool.
I
that
did.
It's kind of a domino effect.
Yeah, she was over in California, and then I would do my show at 1 in the morning, and I used to make her get up at 9 o'clock in the morning of her time. To be on the show with me. But that just reminded me of her, because she's over there in California too. Yes, but she does some really good work. Her and her husband now, what's his name, Kevin. They do some really good work. Their network is called Martyrs Ministry. It's on Blog Talk Radio as well. But if you guys get a chance, check them out. Really good. They do a lot of prophecy stuff. Real good work, man. And she was she used to be into yoga real bad. I mean, not just yoga, but into the Eastern mysticism stuff. She was into all that, and God brought her out of that. And she has a great testimony on YouTube. I'm sorry, go ahead.
She is currently in California.
I think they're still in California now, yes.
Okay.
And you know what? That's a whole other show right there with all this, with that, what you just said, Ninja. With the Eastern religions and the mysticisms and the spirits that come along with it. They're not your friends.
That'd be a good show. And if we do a show like that, we got to get her on. She'll give her testimony. Is very powerful, man. You on YouTube, you can watch her do it, and it just will break your heart, the stuff that she went through. And me and her used to talk in depth, outside of to have each other's phone number. We would talk all night long, just talking about stuff that's going on in the world and the things that has happened to her, and her testimony, and we would just talk and worship, and it was just great. It's great to have a fellowship with somebody, kind of like me and you do, AJ. When we get on the phone, we be on the phone for hours.
Brother.
You know what I mean? And it's great
time
because
flies
we
real
have
quick.
that fellowship. It does. Just like tonight. Tonight went by. I mean, it's almost 12 o'clock already. You know?
I know. I'm looking and I'm like,
I know
wow.
you know, because you gotta get up in 3 hours.
Yeah, man. Guess what? I got off tomorrow. It worked out perfectly.
But that's good, man, because you up. I'll steal for you, man. But
man, I worked 7 days.
That's crazy.
Well, because of that whole blizzard, they
had
us in 7 days, and our contract, I guess it got kind of thrown out the window, just like the Constitution does sometimes. They're like, well, blah 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 and blah blah blah. You got to be here 7 days. I'm like, really? Okay, I'll take your money, no problem. You're gonna pay me freaking double time here. I'll take your money, no problem.
It really is good though to be able to have people that know the stuff and are like-minded like you are, so you're able to to talk about the things that we talk about without being looked at funny or thought about funny. You know what I'm saying? That's what this whole thing is. This whole community is needed like that.
Absolutely. And you know what? I do what I say. I say it all the time. Talk with your neighbors. Go shake their hand if you don't know them. If you see a new one moving in, go help them out. Maybe help them carry their bed or their china closet, or carry their table in. Go make yourself known. Go start talking with them. Get to know them. Help them out, and don't expect help in return. You just help people out of the goodness of your heart. And you know what? God will bless you for that. Don't worry about them blessing you back. It's not about, hey, I'm doing something for you, you do something for me. No, that is the wrong mentality to do. But, we really do have to get to know our neighbors, have to get to know our community. That's where it starts. You want to conquer this new world order that these Luciferian elites are trying to push on us? Start within your community and stop letting them break your community down. We have to stand in their way of their programming, of their preconditioning.
It's our job to warn people, but we're not going to stop this because this is ordained by God. This is God's will. God knows what's going on. So it's our job to warn people. I don't know what we can delay. I don't know if God will allow that either. But I'm just saying it's our job to warn people. If we see something coming, we're supposed to warn people. And if we don't, then whatever blood is shed is going to be on our hands because we didn't warn them. That's our job as watchmen on the wall, and that's what this is all biblical. That's our job as a watchman, is when we see something coming that people are too blind to understand what's going on, and we see it going on, we're supposed to warn them, and so they can be prepared for it. The same way the brides were being prepared. The 10 brides, it was 10 brides in the Bible, and 10 of them had to have the oils, and the other 10 didn't have the oil, and the ones that had the oil had their lights ready. They were prepared. Well, we have to get people prepared for stuff that's coming, because you don't
how about Noah?
Just jump up on them. What's that?
Noah was not Noah warning people of the great flood coming,
yeah,
building an ark, getting laughed at.
It's the same thing. As in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man comes. It's the same thing. Noah was warning people. People scoffed at him. People laughed at him, said he was crazy. The same thing. It's the things that were happening in the days of Noah, the Bible says, are the same type of things that's going to be happening in the end times.
Exactly.
And that's exactly what it is. So we are supposed to be warning people. We're not going to stop it, but we have to get people prepared. But the main thing that we have to do is get them prepared for their salvation. Where are you going to be in the end?
When it comes down to the end, I think God is actually sitting back watching man and how we are. I mean, we've been talking about how our morals and values are falling away day by day, more and more. And I think God's given us that privilege to continue on humanity before he ends it. Well, wouldn't that be up to us to continue on humanity and act out in a righteous, morally, with valued way? We can sit here all day long and kill each other and have sex with him and have sex with her and promote this and promote that, and use the TV to destroy us all in our minds. But we don't have to tolerate this. We can call out these scumbags and we can put an end to it. It doesn't have to end because of our actions. And I think that's what God is really honestly weighing our hearts at. He basically when he went against Sodom and Gomorrah or these other cities, he said, find me one person in there that is, upholding my will. And they couldn't do it. He would destroy the cities. Well, that's what we're looking at now. And I'll tell you this. Remember this, people. If God doesn't destroy America for the whole gay agenda, then he's got a lot of people to apologize for Sodom and Gomorrah. And if you don't think Sodom and Gomorrah didn't happen, I'd advise you to go to Ephesians 6:12. It's a page on Facebook. Go ahead and search through there of what Sodom and Gomorrah looks like today, what Babylon looks like today. God said they will never, ever be inhabited again after he destroys them. Do your own research. Look at the brimstone that was rained down. It was unhuman. The things that went on there. Scientifically, it's off the charts. Not even an ostrich will live there. There's nothing there. God stood true to his word.
Look at what happened to Sarah, who got out of Sodom and Gomorrah when she turned back and looked at it.
Turned into a pillar of salt.
She got turned to salt.
Yep.
She wasn't even in it. Just turned around and looked at it.
And the angel was telling her, do not turn and look. Run.
Turn back and look.
Run and get out of here. Like I said, you look at Sodom and Gomorrah today, 2016. Go back 2015, 2014, 2013. Look at the pictures, the research that was done that proved these areas. There's nothing there. Just as God said back 3,000 years ago when he spoke through people who put it down in words, put it in the Bible. No one will live there anymore. Well, if that happened back then with his anger, because of the perversion that went on and ruined people and ruined children, can you imagine what he's going to do to America? He ain't going to apologize.
What people got to understand is we're not promoting hate. I'm not saying I hate gay people. I never said that, and I never will, because I don't hate anybody. I don't hate people like that. And I'm not going to say. The thing is, it's not about hating people. It's about me being able to express my beliefs freely, the same way they want to express their choice freely.
Exactly.
That's what it is. You can't tell me to tolerate you, but you can't tolerate me.
There you go. There it is right there. And you know what? You can speak that all you want right here, because we're all about freedom of speech. And I agree with you.
But that's the whole point. And they always talk about somebody's intolerant of this and intolerant of that. But then the minute I say something, or the minute I bring up something that's in the Bible about it, or the minute I say I'm not going to bake your cake because I don't believe in that, you don't tolerate that. You got to go get me in trouble. You want to get me arrested. You want to sue me.
Yeah, you're a hater.
Why can't you tolerate why can't you tolerate what I'm saying? I have to tolerate. You are forcing me. You're forcing me. You're using laws to make me do this. And this is I had a conversation with my brother the other night about democracy and constitution and republic. We are not a democratic country. We're not a democracy. We're not supposed to be a democracy. That was all something that they made up. Yeah, we're a constitutional republic. A democracy is like an oligarchy. A democracy is when you get people that vote and come and say this is how I want it to be, and whoever wins that vote, that's the rule, period. You have no rights after that. A constitutional republic is when you can do that same vote. But if you don't agree with it, you don't have to. That's the difference.
Yep.
You still have your individual rights. But in a democracy, you don't.
No, you don't. It's groupthink. And it's not even groupthink. It comes down to group pressure. They'll pressure you into their agenda.
That's right.
Their way.
And that's what's happening. That's what's happening with the whole gay agenda. They go on, they go to these Supreme Courts and they pass all these laws, and then now I got to follow it. I have no right. If I say something about a transgender woman in New York City, I get fined $250,000.
Oh, I just read that. I am dumbfounded.
Ain't that crazy?
That's another show, and we're gonna do it.
That is
because I'll tell you what. I don't like perversion. I see perversion going on everywhere. That's what it is. We're dealing with perversion and lust. These are spirits. Oh, you don't believe me? Go do some research. We're going to do a show about this.
You're not born gay. There's no scientific evidence of that at all. If you can be born gay, then a fetus is a human. It's that simple. Because if you're gay in the womb, then you have to be a human. You have to know you're gay.
You know what? I've said, Ninja, I've said this before. I'm going to say it again. I've seen demons. I didn't fear them, but I knew they were here. I knew they were surrounding me, and I had to come against them. But we're going to do, Ninja, we're going to do a show on the gay agenda. And I'm going to speak about what I've seen, because what I seen really startled me big time and made me actually jump back. I saw something that freaked my head. It was in the unseen. I'll get into it later. We're going to do this show, whether it be next week or the following week. This show is going to happen. The gay agenda will happen right here on the New Element, because it is not natural. It is not natural at all. It is not about procreation. Nope. It is a lustful act of perversion.
You don't see two male lions humping, do you? You ever see two male giraffes humping each other?
Nope.
Two male lions?
Unless a little bit of perversion crept into the animal kingdom. I mean, demons can do many things, let's get these two.
That's never happened.
Let's get these two tigers to hump together, and then we'll get our pawns to videotape it. Then we'll put it out on CBS and say, "Look at the animal kingdom; they're gay too." No, I don't think so. And we ain't. No one's gay, because gay is to be happy. Come on, this is a sexual. This is a sexual act. It's not about gayness.
It's a choice.
Being gay
That's
is
what you want to do. Just think about that, though. Think about how they can call a fetus is not a human, but so then it can't be gay. You can't be gay in a womb, because if you're gay in a womb, then you're a human. You can't have it both ways. Same thing with transgenders. They say that you know you're a transgender, that you want to be a man or a woman if you're the opposite sex, and you know that when you're in the womb. Well, then if you know that you're a human being, you can't kill it.
Right. Thank
you. Tells
so
you.
Let's stop abortion tomorrow.
Biology tells you, though, if you're born a man, you're going to die a man.
Yeah.
Same
XY
as woman.
chromosomes.
You got chromosomes. The chromosomes tell you when you're 7 weeks old that you're born. It's right there.
Yep.
Well, hey, we're down to 1 minute left here, and we just did 3 hours, like in the blink of an eye. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Ninja, Eva, I want to thank you. You are on point when it comes to running this studio. We rolled the commercials. I look over. I'm like, whoa. I come back in. I'm like, everyone's muted. We're rolling commercials. I hope you liked your promo. I'm actually going to do a little bit more work to it, because you run an amazing show. You really do.
Thank you very much.
Check her out. All Reality, Tuesday nights, right here on Infinite Source Broadcast Network. Amazing show. Same with Michael, who called in earlier. Michael Conley, Monday nights, 9 o'clock, The Open Door. Great show. Genesis Awakening will be coming back, possibly the Arsenal of Sound. We have the Open Your Mind podcast with Lieutenant. Yeah, we are definitely doing some great things over here, and I love it. I love what everyone is doing. We're out here doing our best to wake people up and, just be real, giving you an alternative to CNN or Fox News or, any other lies that are out there. We are real people.
Joel Osteen and C.D. Jakes.
You know what? Hey, perfect point. I would like to do a Sunday show.
The man that can't frown.
You're right. You know what? I'm done with these people. They have these massive million and billion dollar mega churches worth, well, their salaries are they're unheard of, like how much money they're making in the millions. 501c3 churches. Really?
Yep.
Government controlled churches, you're making this much money? I'd rather be broke and deliver truth and